ubaba uzunguza, ubukhosi bonke obukhona, all the leadership from national, province, naku local government as a whole. Let us all rise, sicule iculo lesizwe, national anthem. Sizocela ukuthi obaba bathule izigqoko, and uma sicula iculo lesizwe ke siyathula siye ukunyakaza, sime la sikhona, senze i-attention, sihloniphe iculo lesizwe. Uma ekhona onezwi lemzilili, sizocela nje ukuthi asondele azosicalela iculo lesizwe. Ukhona o volunteerayo ukuzosiculela iculo lesizwe. Thank you very much. Likhona gulo. But you will lead us, Mama boy. Boy, Mama, you'll lead us through DJ lapha siyabonga kakhulu. Siyabonga, sishayeni ihlombe. Asiphinde sishayeleni iculo lesizwe ihlombe. Ngibonge nokuthi niye nalihlonipha kakhulu iculo lesizwe. Azange kube nokuphithiza okukhulu. Okhulumayo ukhansela uNoliqhwa wakanhlapho. Uya actor namhlanje, is an acting speaker waseGarisibande District Municipality. Kodwa kahle kahle yena chairperson we-MPEC. Abangayazi i-MPEC umasipala yiloku abakubiza ku-national ukuthi iskopa.
Bambisane namalunga wamaphoyisa. Let us make the work of the police easier. That what we have witnessed as a crime, we also play our part by providing information to the police. Let us not only let the police gather the necessary evidence from the scene of crime and also search for each and every hint about how that crime was committed when we remain silent. When you do your part, what you'll be essentially saying is that you will be contributing to making your contribution to the safety of the members of the public and also your own safety. Let us make sure that when we are in need of information. We go to our local magistrates' courts, we approach the prosecutors to check with them and verify that whatever we are thinking, we are correct. So that if we are not correct in whatever we are thinking and deciding to take, we can be corrected and be guided properly. I want to say that today outside the NPA has a stand, a gazebo, where we have stationed officials from our office. The members of the public who want to know more about the role of the NPA, please feel free to approach the stand where the NPA is exhibiting to make the inquiries that you may have. And there will be officials who will be readily respond to the questions that you may have. Minister, I have said what I want to say, and I'm reminded about something which the Director General mentioned when we were attending the National Prosecuting Strategic Planning in Benoni, and the Minister was sitting somewhere in the Western Cape. It was about, he spoke about relocating to, that when you relocate to another country, you run the chance that maybe after 10 years or 25 years, you may be reminded that your country of origin is X country. So when I was designated as the acting DPP, it reminded me of your story, TJ, and I will never forget it. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the NPA, I want to say thank you for affording us an opportunity to make this presentation before you.
Uyazicelela uba uyazicelela uba uNtuli thashayela izandla. Ngicela ukuthi simshayeleni please. Siyabonga kakhulu baba uNtuli ubeke kwaqaqa ukuthi nina njenge NPA nizoyenza sure ukuthi igilamkhuba niyazivalela. Nokuthi ke kunama stalls lapha ngaphandle, asambeni sitholeni ulwazi, sizokwazi ukuthi silwisane nalobhubhane oluyi gender based violence and femicide. Without wasting any time, I will call upon a presentation by the Department of Correctional Service, Deputy Commissioner, Miss Makuza, ngabe ngimbize kahle isibongo sakhe, Malibongwe.
Ngiyabonga, Program Director. Please allow me to acknowledge the presence of Honorable Minister of Justice and Correctional Services, Minister Lamola. Also the leadership of Kharisibande Municipality, Amakosis, all DGs and acting DGs, and maybe to say all protocol observed. I would like to share with the community of this district municipality about our role as the Department of Correctional Services in ending the scourge of gender-based violence. And I perhaps should hasten to say it was indeed necessary that correctional services should be the third one to present after NPA, because our role is to ensure an implementation of the sentences that have been imposed by the courts. After the NPA, it's now correctional services that takes over those that have been sentenced to incarceration period. Now, I will going to share with you the primary mandate of our department, which resonates with what NPA is saying, that they will sentence, but we have to do our job, which is corrections. Now, as we implement the sentences that have been imposed by the courts, we are guided by the two primary mandates. The first being the Correctional Services Act 111 of 1998, which says we must ensure the safety and security in our corrections function of those that have been sentenced to our facilities. We must also ensure the humane detention and also ensure that we give the necessary programs that lead to the development and social responsibility of those that have been incarcerated. Today we are talking about those that have been incarcerated because of them having committed gender-based violence. And we do have those indeed in our correctional facilities. Now, the second mandate that I want to share with you about is the White Paper on Correctional Services in South Africa, 2005. This is one of the very important mandates, which also refers to you, the community, that we cannot do this corrections work if you are not part of us. All the social ills that you are having, including gender-based violence, they originate in the community. Families are there, and we believe that if that is the case, the seat of corrections is in the family, it's in the community, it's in the society. So without you, we can never achieve much in terms of correcting the offending behavior. So we really need you. Now, there is also a need for us as a department to align ourselves with other mandates that are available and have been set out by government. There is one memoranda that I would like to refer to, that the summary memoranda of demands, these demands are 24. They refer to the government's response to dealing with gender-based violence. And among the 24, Correctional Services is responsible for 2. That is demand number 8 and demand number 13. Demand number 8 requires that the Department of Correctional Services, during the incarceration of those that have committed gender-based violence offenses, be made aware of the scourge of gender-based violence and the pain that it causes to the to the victims. Demand number 13 talks to the provision of psychosocial support to victims and survivors. We do have got the victims who happen to have come into contact with perpetrators and have been, as a result, injured. Now, we also have got the victims, the perpetrators who happen to have been wronged in line with gender-based violence, but need also to be attended to help them come out of their situation and correct their offending behavior. I want to share with you that the department is in the process of aligning itself with these two demands. And in doing so, the department has already drafted a comprehensive framework to deal with the issue of gender-based violence. And it also indicates specifically all the role players that should be involved within correctional services. And it does not only refer to social workers or psychologists, but the full spectrum of the work that is taking place in correctional services, starting with the training of those that will be offering gender-based violence awareness programs. That is the officials of DCS. I'm just citing that one as an example. Now, coming to the correction of offending behavior itself, the NPA shall have said, you go to correctional services, this is the sentence that you'll be serving. Now, correctional services will have to admit this person that has been sentenced. And we, as a correctional services, will have to now start looking into how the journey of this offender will proceed up to the time when the offender gets released. Now, it is the admission phase where we assess the risk of an offender and the classification thereof. Once we know the nature of the person that has offended that we are dealing with, we are able to start developing what we call a sentence plan. It is like the step-by-step kind of programs that the offender will go through to correct the offending behavior. And it involves the primary assessment where the official would look also into all the documents that have been received from the SAPS, the SAP, for example, the SAP 62, just to check on how this crime was committed and the circumstances, for example, under which the crime was committed, so that by the time we develop the intervention plan towards correcting this offending behavior, then we know exactly what is it that we need to focus on. That is the primary assessment. It is done by our own correctional officials, and because some of them are not specializing, there is still a need to send this offender to specialized professionals to do the in-depth assessment, which means the therapeutic assessment, which will be done by the professionals, for example, psychologists, social workers, and also the chaplains, who will be able to make sure that they involve the offender in needs-based therapeutic programs. Those therapeutic programs are rendered by psychologists and social workers. Correctional officials will be raising awareness on gender-based violence to say, this is what you have done, and they will always refer to the professionals to do in-depth therapy so that say in-depth or what actually is it that led you to doing this. Because with the primary assessment, you only scratch the surface. Ne? No, we were in a group, it was nice, we were having fun, I was drinking, but now, what is it actually that led you to doing this? This is what the professionals will be doing in terms of in-depth assessment, and then they will develop an intervention plan with manje ke sesiyosebenza. And that is where the journey starts, where we also need you as the community to be part of the journey of the offender. Then, we will involve the perpetrator into the programs, needs-based programs, which I will share with you just now. And those programs will continue until the stage where the offender is reintegrated back into the community. And that is why we need you to be part of this journey from the point of admission up to the end. Now I'm going to share with you the types of programs that these offenders will be involved into at the later stage. For now, let me just share with you, just in brief, to give you an idea as to what types of offenders do we have in our facilities that have committed these types of crimes. For example, gender-based violence does not discriminate. We have got women also that have committed these kinds of violence towards others. For example, towards children or towards other men. So I would like to clear that one up front so that we do not get the impression that it is only males that commit gender-based violence crimes. Now, it is females. In the Department of Correctional Services, as at the end of March 2022, we had sentenced offenders, 2,334 of them, and then the remand detainees, that is those that are still waiting to go through the NPA to be sentenced. Those ones were 1,387. In total, we have female offenders amounting to 3,721, and this translates into 2.5 of the inmate population within Department of Correctional Services in South Africa. Now, it is important to also indicate that though most female offenders commit minor crimes ranging from theft and narcotics and other types of crimes, also rape and murder, out of 2,334 sentenced female offenders, at least 792 are serving sentences for murder, and this translates to 33.9%. Now, let me share with you on the male offenders. We have got 93,619. Baningi kakhulu bakithi. And it says a lot about us as a community. Ukuthi abaphi abobaba basemzini bakuphi senzeni ngabo. Senzeni ngabo. It's a question that we should ask ourselves. It started in the family, it is in the community. Our role is very important in all this situation. How do we raise our boy children? We can't have so many males in our correctional facilities. It means we are really in trouble as the country. We need to do something about it, and that is why we are here, so that we can emphasize the point of working together to prevent also the scourge of gender-based violence. Now, Program Director, if I may continue, I would like to say the increasing male population committing aggressive crimes and thereafter serving longer sentences is also a concern to us. Furthermore, out of 93,614 sentenced offenders, at least 24,118 of them were sentenced for sexual offenses, and that translates into 25.76% of the population. It's a lot. It's a lot. Now, if I may just give you a breakdown, just pay attention to what is the statistics for this area in particular in terms of the province. I will be mentioning the regions, because in correctional services, our department is divided into regions, but every region has got is located within a province. So you will be able to understand when I say LMN, it's about Limpopo, Mpumalanga, and Northwest. So Mpumalanga and Limpopo, that will be what you can focus on. Yes, we have got these statistics, inmates sentenced and accused of sexual offenses per region as on the 31st of March. Eastern Cape, there were 4,604. Unsentenced, those that are still waiting to be sentenced, 1,354. The grand total is 5,958. That is nationally. Free State, 38,000. 887 and sentenced 675. Now, coming to Gauteng, 3,757, and then the unsentenced were 615. LMN, the sentence were 4,876. You can look at the size of the province itself. It is saying you have 4,087 male offenders who are incarcerated for sexual offenses, and then 1,168 of them are awaiting, are still in remand. The Western Cape, 2,789, and then those that have been unsentenced, 997. The grand total for the sentenced is 24,118. Those that are still awaiting sentencing or are on remand is 6,572. And then the grand total around the issue of sexual offenses is 30,690. It's a lot. Now, we are responsible for rendering programs to those that have already been sentenced. That number is what the correctional services have to deal with in partnership with yourselves, the community. And the community, being community members, organization, the FBOs, the CBOs, and all other stakeholders that are relevant in assisting us towards correcting the offending behavior, particularly also in relation to gender-based violence that we are focusing on today. I would like to share with you that there is a program that we call the Female Offenders Program. This program focuses on the awareness raising and on gender-based violence. And the female offenders get to be exposed to this in groups or perhaps on individual basis, just to make sure that they become aware of the gender-based violence, the pain that it is causing, and to equip them with the skills, technical skills that they can employ to not commit the crime again, or to employ when the urge comes again to commit the gender-based violence. We have got the other program, that is the anger management program, because some of the gender-based violence offenses relate to the anger that people harbor inside. So it is one of the scientifically researched programs that would be rendered by the professionals. Social workers will render the therapeutic version, when the other officials, correctional officials, will do just the awareness raising and always refer to the professionals for intensive therapeutic interventions. Now, this program, the purpose thereof is to develop the offender's insight into own behavioral patterns and to teach them skills to change their own aggressive behavior. Because once you are angry and you act in retaliation in an angry manner, you are not solving a situation. There must be a different way or a different approach of dealing with the anger feelings that one is harboring. So that is one program that I would like to share with you. The other program is the Sexual Offender Treatment Program. It is one of the scientifically researched programs that is being rendered by the professionals, psychologists, social workers. It is a very intensive type of a program that also makes use of therapeutic models, behavioral therapies, and cognitive development therapies, just to make sure that we dig deeper into the causes of this behavior that we call gender-based violence in particular, to make sure that we really are helping this offender to change that type of a behavior. The next one is the trauma counseling. We know very well that the offenders themselves, once they have been incarcerated for gender-based violence, let's say they are the perpetrators, they also go through specific types of traumas. We need to attend to that trauma, so that we make them aware that gender-based violence, committing crime on its own causes trauma. And even the perpetrators, they would come and say, I'm traumatized by what I have done. So we need to attend to those as well. And then there are also offenses that are committed within correctional services. You know, sometimes you get an offender that has been sentenced committing a crime in a correctional facility. It is a problem. Some of them, for example, would take advantage of the new ones that are coming in a correctional facility, or even the older ones, and without consent, try and approach them and become aggressive to them and start committing acts like, for example, sodomy, which we do not condone in the department. It's an offense on its own, so we need to also take care of such situation. It is the trauma that is being caused to individual offenders, and usually it is linked to the gender-based violence itself, because we do have got all types of offenders. We have got the LGBTQI plus, and sometimes you get situations of those that did not disclose their situation upon admission being taken advantage of, because we care as a department and we are aware that we need to segregate those that have disclosed so that they are not taken advantage of. But if it happens to those that did not disclose, it's our responsibility to make sure that we offer trauma counseling to them. All right, then those are the few that I wanted to share with you. And in conclusion, Program Director, I think I have overstepped the mark in terms of the time that you have given me, but I needed to really share this with you so that, you know, information can be shared. This is the day for that. Now, in conclusion, let me urge you, Basekaya Guti, please be part of the correction of offending behavior. Be part of those people that can be counted when it has to be, when it comes to breaking the cycle of gender-based violence in our communities. Be involved in our correctional facilities by availing yourselves as members of those that have been incarcerated for such types of crimes, so that we can be able to go through the journey, so that by the time we reintegrate them back into the community, then we are sure that they are in good hands back into the community. Because correctional services is there for a purpose to do their job, but eventually an offender that is deserving will have to go back to the community, and that is where you have to receive them and make sure that they do no longer, or you do not contribute to them relapsing back into the crime that is gender-based violence in particular. Thank you very much, Program Director. Thank you very much.
Asiphinde simshayeleni izandla. Siyabonga kakhulu Mama Kuza. Ngimyeke ngabomu ngiyabona acting executive mayor wamla oyang indicatela ukuthi isikhathi siqale ngova kwesikhathi, but I thought ukuthi the information asinikeza yona is very important. Let me allow her ukuthi asinikeze le information, sikwazi ukuthi sibamukele uma ngabe sebabuya ukuyolungiswa izimilo zabo, ngoba le i-correctional service ngomva kokuba sebacommite le crime, baboshwa, bahamba bayoseva igwebo zabo, nathi as umphakathi kumele ukuthi senze sure ukuthi siyabamukela. Inani labo mama nabo abenza i-gender-based violence. Minister kusho ukuthi abo baba abasena mahloni. Kubalulekile kakhulu ukuthi uma ngabe ubaba ehlukumezekile naye ahambe ayovula icala. Sibona ngenani lokuthi abo mama nabo bakhona ababoshwayo ngenxa yalesimo sale gender based violence. Kumele sizibuzeke ukuthi konakale kuphi. Where did we go wrong? Imiphakathi yakithi uma seyiphila ngalendlela. Abomama baphephanga, abantwana baphephanga, kanye nabobaba abaphephanga. Siyimiphakathi enjani? Konakele kuphi? Ngizobiza ke olandelayo sithole i-presentation from head of legal aid South Africa ebuya la eMelo ubaba uMadzonzo uma ngabe ngimbiza kahle asimshayeleni izandla eseza phambili ilona yethu lapha ningasishayela nje umusic ngabe sekuthula kakhulu sithi ukunyakaza kancane kubonakalise impilo. Yes, sikhuluma ngesimo esingekho right, but thina sila kufanele ukuthi kubonakale ukuthi siyaphila sizimisele ukulwa nalesifo se gender based violence. Kancane nje DJ lapho ukuthi uMadzonzo before simbona nyakaza ashaya ivosho. Ashaya ivosho. Isashaywa mangabe isashaya ivosho.
Thank you.
DJ beningazilungiselanga, I know beningazilungiselelanga, but nizilungiselele sicela ukuthi uMadzonzo akhulume ngenxa yesikhathi. Ngiyacabanga ukuthi nabanye bafike kusabanda kusesekuseni, so abanye vele angithi siphuza nalamapilisi singanidini isikhathi eside. You can proceed, Mama.
Thank you, Program Director. DJ, you must apologize to the people of Carolina. I was ready for some serious vosho there. So people missed out. Thank you, DJ. Sanibonani mphakathi wase Carolina. Sanibonani kuma khosi wendabuko. I am pleased to be speaking with you today, alongside my colleagues from the Justice Cluster and the Honorable Minister of Justice and Correctional Services, Mr. Ronald Lamola, as well as the Director General of the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development, Advocate Dr. Mashaban. I am speaking on behalf of legal aid. Let the record reflect that I'm not acting. Thank you, Babuntul. Now, can I take this opportunity just to outline or indicate who or what is legal aid? Now, in terms of Section 35, subsection 3 of our Constitution, every person who appears before a court has a right to a free trial, which includes a right to choose and be represented by a legal practitioner or to have a legal practitioner assigned to them by the state at the state's expense, particularly if substantial injustice would otherwise result. To give effect to this constitutional right, Parliament passed an act to provide for the creation of the institution called Legal Aid South Africa. So, just to elaborate on what I have just outlined. Now, if you've ever been in a courtroom where cases are tried, one of the first things abakutshela zona mawufika enkantolo bazokutshela ngelungelo lakho lokuba nommeli, which is a constitutional right. Bakuchazele futhi ukuthi mawuthanda you can have ummeli of your choice if you can afford. They will also explain that if you cannot afford, ummeli will be assigned to you at state expense. That's where Legal Aid South Africa comes in. That's where we come in to assist you. They will also explain to you, Maufike Court, Uguti, you can also represent yourself. Now, this is my personal view and personal opinion. I normally do not encourage anyone who has a legal problem to represent themselves. In fact, ngingummeli, I've been a lawyer for a very long time. If I were to find myself before court, I will never advise myself to represent myself. Maybe let me elaborate a little bit further. Sometimes abantu we sibheka ngale lihlo lokuthi into eyenzakele ngiyayazi. Ngamanye amagama, I know the facts of what happened. Ngizokwazi ukuzikhulumela ngizibekele ama facts. Please be aware that ma use court, over and above ama facts, there are two other things that are very critical. And if you do not have any knowledge with regards to how the law works, you might find yourself losing a case, just to speak loosely. Those two things are, uma use court, kune procedure. In other words, kunendlela yokuthi ubufakazi bakho lolo or loko kwaziyo, which are facts. How do you put them before a court? How do you make them acceptable before a court? Kube another aspect, which is principles of law, legal principles. That will be relevant to the case that you are dealing with a court. Now, if you are not legally trained, those two things will confuse you. Hence, I want to reiterate, please, never ever gamble by saying uzozikhulumela enkantolo. Ulegally aid ukhona mahal. Siyezwa. Thank you. Now, today's gathering is all about you, the community of Carolina. Now, I want to thank Ubaba Uzunguza for welcoming us here today. Thank you. My name is Mpile Zondo. I am the head of office, Emelo Local Office, which is part of Legal Aid South Africa. Legal Aid South Africa, in particular, our MLO office serves you, the community of Carolina. If you are not aware, it's in an office which we call a satellite office, Elukwatini. So if you do have problems and you do need legal representation, please do not hesitate to visit our office, Elukwatini. Now, conversations on gender-based violence, are always important. And we need to sustain an ongoing engagement on this crucial pandemic. The scourge of gender-based violence is not going to stop until every single person, every one of us in our country, recognizes and realizes that action against GBV is an ongoing and an everyday activity. This means speaking up when you see or hear something that is harmful or dangerous, reporting gender-based violence, as well as discrimination, and sharing knowledge on what people can do to protect themselves and others. Ngamafupi, what I am trying to share with you today is that gender-based violence is our business, all of us. Akusiye kamakhelwane, because njalo on Friday there are screams that come out of the house. It is our problem. And we cannot afford not to talk about it. We cannot afford not to take action against it. Remember, mayenzeka kamakhelwane, it can easily happen to you. It's a do's. So we cannot afford to keep quiet. Now, today we are going to be sharing and highlighting how the Justice Cluster in South Africa is working together to fight gender-based violence. As Legal Aid South Africa, we stand firm in our commitment to the country's National Development Plan 2030, working together to create a safe South Africa for all. And we are reminded of the elements or principles of Ubuntu. In other words, the decisions we make in our daily lives have an impact on our lives. That is a reiteration to say, gender-based violence, inkinga yethu sonke. Akusinkinga ye victim or akusinkinga ye perpetrator. Yethu sonke, we cannot afford to keep quiet when we see or hear about it. Legal Aid South Africa joins the Justice Cluster in strongly opposing gender-based violence, and we are committed to upholding justice for both victims and the accused or perpetrators. Our role is to make access to justice a reality by providing independent, accessible, quality legal aid services in criminal and civil matters. This means we provide legal advice and assistance to people to get a fair public hearing to settle their disputes before a court, as opposed to some views which I hope today you will be clarified. Legal aid does not protect criminals. Legal aid defends everyone's right. Now, as Legal Aid South Africa, we also provide a protection of people's constitutional right to a fair trial and defend the people's rights that they must be treated as innocent until proven guilty through a fair trial. And this right is protected and enshrined by umthetho-sisekelo of our country, our constitution. Both these roles laid out in the constitution, each and every one of us has these same rights. Legal Aid South Africa, along with justice partners here today, make the constitution a real for all. It must not just be a document that exists somewhere in the bookshelves. We must bring it to life. We must see it happening whenever there is a court process or a trial that is happening. The last thing, or one of the things that I would like to remind you, Mphakathi waso Carolina, is that please remember, as I've already said, you do not pay for legal aid. Legal aid is free. We represent you. You do not pay for our services. We are independent and we defend and represent our clients without fear or favor. Legal Aid South Africa, our MLO local office, is here today. We have our team that will be manning a stand outside. We can provide you with legal advice on questions you have on gender-based violence and what the law says, as well as how we can assist you. If you are experiencing violence or discrimination, speak to us today. We can help you to plan your next steps. Remember, knowledge is power. If you know your rights, you can help yourself and others if they are experiencing gender-based violence as well as discrimination. This is not only for women, but other vulnerable communities, including people with disabilities and people of various sexual and gender identities. Before I conclude, I just want to highlight in the event that today perhaps you do not have a legal problem that you might want to bring to our attention, or a legal problem that you might want to talk to us about, that as Legal Aid South Africa, we have 64 justice centers nationally, as well as 64 satellite offices nationally. So if you need any help, legal related, you are more than welcome to visit any of our offices. Now, I know that we also have young people here who are social media savvy. As Legal Aid, we are also available on Facebook and Twitter. You can follow us at Twitter. We are at Legal Aid SA1. On Facebook, we are Legal Aid SA. You can also, if you have a legal problem, contact us on 0800 110 110. That is our call center, and it's free. From Monday to Friday, you can call us. Another exciting or method of encouraging or allowing people to be able to access us as Legal Aid is a service that we call a Please Call Me service. Through this feature, you can simply send a Please Call Me to 079 835 7179. Once you have done that, we will call you back and be able to engage with you. Those are some of the ways that we make justice accessible to people who cannot afford. That is all I have to say today. Thank you so much. I start here.
Thank you. Ungayishaya nje ivocho uyohlala phansi. Siyabonga DJ. Sibonge kakhulu baba lesibonga. Angeke ngikhona ukusibiza ngizaze ngilume amalimi. Ke rena ke tswa kwa dipaliseng ke bua Sesotho. Jwale tse ding vele di tlo mpalla. That was on the lighter note. Ubaba Zondo ubekade esitshela la ukuthi uma ngabe soboshiwe bona as illegal aid bayakwazi ukuthi bakumele nokuthi bakumele mahala nokuthi lenkinga le ye GBVF inkinga yethu sonke siwumphakathi. Ngakho ke kubalekile ukuthi sisebenzisaneni sonke ukuze sicede lokuhlukumezana siwumphakathi wase South Africa. Ngaphandle kokuchitha isikhathi ke sengizophana ngesikhathi ngoba ngathi I was too lenient nginikeza abantu nje yabona. Ngiyaxolisa ke uthi ngizoqala ngawe. I'm very sorry. Ngoba uminister uye kufanele ukuthi asisongele simnikeze isikhathi eside. Manje ngizoqala ngomama yabona akusi right. Ngizoqala ngomama ukumnikeza isikhashana esincane. Kodwa ke manje sizothola ipresentation nge-National Register of Sex Offenders, i-Department of Justice and Constitutional Development, umama uMajila. Malibongwe. Awumshayele ngiyambona vele umama hayi. Uzasishayela ivosho kancane.
Ngiyabonga MC ngokungifudumeza. Ngizothi ngisafudumele. I would like to acknowledge my honorable minister, Mr. Ronald Lamola, MC, program director, acting executive mayor, wonke ama MMCs akhona, my DG advocate Mashabani, na wonke ama DGs akhona, all DDGs, all officials from kuwo wonke amabutho akhona lana, amakhosi, na wonke umuntu, manene na manenekazi. Ladies and gentlemen, ngiyanibulisa. Sanibonani. Igama lami njengoba uprogram director eShilo nguNtomzoto wakoMachila, and then ngisebenza within the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development as the registrar for the National Register for Sex Offenders. Kodwa namhlanje udaba lolo zoba sikhuluma ngalo around gender-based violence. Nangabe niyakhumbula in 2018 sonke siwumphakathi siye sasukuma saphakama ngokuhlukumezeka kwabafazi nabantwana, sama saya nakumongameli safike sathi sesiyabulawa ezandleni zamadoda. Upresident wasimamela wasukuma wa-assigna iparliament ukuthi ake ithi ukubheka nokudingida imithetho engabe ukuthi ibheke ukudila ne-gender-based violence. So kulezi nyanga lezi ezedlula iparliament iye yasebenza kanzima ukubhekana naleyo mithetho. Mina ngizokhuluma ngale mithetho emithathu le iparliament eyayibheka ukuthi ikwazi ukuphucula isimo sabafazi nabantwana emphakathini. Iye yabheka ukuhamba ukufika ukuthi ishintshe isimo, yahamba yayobheka i-Domestic Violence Act ukuthi yini into esingayishintsha ngaphakathi kwe-Domestic Violence Act. As a result, Parliament went and looked into 3 pieces of legislation. One, i-Domestic Violence Act, and then i-Domestic Violence Act expressly extends logo kwashintshiwa ku-Domestic Violence Act ukuthi it extends i-protection manje to older persons in abusive domestic relationships. Okosibili ise ivumela manje ukuthi umuntu angakwazi ukuthi alodge i-application for i-protection order online. Angithi qala bekumele ukuthi uyahamba uye court uyofola ama line ngapho uhlukumezekile emoyeni, uhlukumezekile emzimbeni, kodwa khona manje ungakwazi ukuthi ungalodge i-application for i-protection order ukuthi uyenza online. So i-court nayo iyakwazi ukuthi ngiyaxolisa bengicabanga ukuthi ngiyabona mara ayangiboni. The court may now issue a safety monitoring notice le eyenza ukuthi amaphoyisa abe in constant contact with a survivor without the knowledge of an abuser. It also prohibits and punishes bystanderism by adults in domestic violence. Like labantu laba othola ukuthi uyama uyabona ukuthi lana kune situation la umuntu ehlukumezeka khona kodwa nesaba ukuthi nihambe niyo reporta logo emaphoyiseni until umuntu aze abulawa bese umuntu athi enengibonile ukuthi bekunalento le eyenzakalayo. Now it prohibits bystanderism by adults in domestic violence situations. Le othola ukuthi leyo domestic violence is getting perpetrated against children, abantu abaxhwalile na bantu abadala, even older persons. So umlayezo nge-Domestic Violence Act ulula uthi ukuhlukumezeka ekhaya noma emndenini akusisiyikho noma into yomndeni. You cannot keep it under wraps in the family. Ozakwethu wase NPA ushilo nayo nabo bonke labe balabashilo ukuthi akusinto le esizoyilungisa within emndenini or kuma closed doors bese sithi ayisikhulumile njengomndeni. Yisikhathi lesi sokuthi sikhulume sisuse amahloni singashifti iblame. Umthetho wesibili le iparliament eyawenza futhi yawuphasa is the Criminal and Related Matters Amendment Act. Lena yile be ilungisa futhi i-Criminal Procedure Act. Lena ke ithi umuntu oye otholwa anecala le gender based violence akwamele ukuthi aphiwe bail. Amaphoyisa akumelanga aphe i-police bail for umuntu otholakala anecala le gender based violence. There is no more prosecution bail also kuma GBV matters. I-bail kwamele iyaliwe unless it will be in the interest of justice to grant it, which means prosecutor umchochisi kumele eze nezizathu ezizwakalayo impela akhulume ajuluke ukuthi asho ukuthi yindaba afuna ukuthi umuntu oye accused nge-GBV ukuthi aphiwe ibail. Strengthena ama sentencing procedures, iphinde extende ukuthi abantu bathole intermediary services to civil matters and cases as involve abantu abadala. Umthetho wes-3 lo iparliament yawubheka ukuthi sikwazi ukugwema ukuhlukumezeka kwabantu besifazana nabantwana is the Criminal Law, Sexual Offences and Related Matters Amendment Act. Lo ke umthetho obhekane specifically ne-National Register for Sex Offenders. I-National Register for Sex Offenders i-database le othola ukuthi ifaka amagama wawo wonke umuntu otholwe anecala bese wagwetshwa ngokuthi uye wahlukumeza umuntu oyisifazana nanoma umuntu owumntwana. Umuntu oyisifazana aqala besibheke labantu labo othola ukuthi bekangaphilile kahle ngokomqondo. Kodwa okwamanje ushintsho oluzile ngokuthi ba strengthen the National Register of Sex Offenders ukuthi bafake wonke umuntu otholwa anecala lokuthi uhlukumeze manje all vulnerable persons. Uma sidila nga vulnerable persons, we're looking into abantwana, abantu abangaphilanga kahle, engqondweni, sibheke futhi even female persons under the age of 25, those who receive tuition at a tertiary institution or receive a vocational training at any training institution, or osebenza khona lapho, or ohlala in a facility that accommodates ama students or such employees. Bese kuba umuntu ona physical, intellectual, or sensory disability. Loyo go othola community-based care and support services other than from a family member. Bese futhi sibheka umuntu ohlala ku shelter that provides services to victims of crime. Bese sibheka futhi nomuntu o 60 years and above. So lomthetho wona introduce a new punishable crime of sexual intimidation. So if umuntu uyakusongela ukuthi yena uzokwenza ini sexually, loyo muntu loyo is guilty of committing a crime of sexual intimidation. And ushintsho olwelaba khona ukuthi manje asisakhethi ukuthi umuntu uhlukumeze ubani ngokucansi. Every sexual offender igama lakhe liyofakwa ku National Register for Sex Offenders. And if igama lakho lifakiwe ku National Register for Sex Offenders, anyeke ukwazi nasejudeni ukuthi usebenze na all vulnerable persons, or ube la where vulnerable persons are congregate. So if, let's say for example, ugwechiwe, usejele, and you decide ukuthi wena you want to study to become a teacher, unfortunately umophuma, you will not be able to work as a teacher because already igama lakho liku National Register for Sex Offenders. Awukwazi nokuthi unga-adopt ingane zakadadweni or unga-foster, unga-applyela for i-foster care because igama lakho already liku National Register for Sex Offenders. So asizameni ngazo zonke indlela ukugwema ukuthi siyenze izinto ezinjengalezi. Futhi ama-particulars, nangaba ama-particulars akho aye afakwa ngaphakathi kwe-National Register for Sex Offenders, wagwetshwa ngaphezu kwenyanga ezindlula u-18, igama lakho anyeke lisakwazi ukuthi likhishwe, and nangabe igama lakho alikhishwanga, anyeke ukwazi ukuthi u-applyele for i-expungement of your criminal record. So igama lakho once lihleli lapho, ungakwazi u-expunge i-criminal record yakho, it means ukuthi uzokwazi ukuthi uhlale ne-criminal record leyo impilo yakho yonke. And niyazi ukuthi uma une-criminal record ikuvalela amathuba amaningi ukuthi ungakwazi ukuthi u-applyela nanoma uphi umsebenzi, because amakampani athi uma abheka wathola ukuthi igama lakho liku-criminal record center database, iye ikuvalela amathuba amaningi ukuthi ungasebenza. Iphinde i-extend futhi the periods upon which a person can qualify to have their details removed from the register. Eqaleni amagama omuntu i-period ende le umuntu bekangayihlala beku 10 years, but khona manje we have doubled those periods from 10 years to 20 years. From lo bekazohlala 7 years, we have doubled to 14 years. Lo bekamele ahlale 5 years, we have doubled to 10 years. So kusho ukuthi siningi lesikhathi lezo zosihlala lesi esizokuthi sikuvalele amathuba ukuthi ungakwazi ukuthi ukhiphe ke igama lakho. So the 3 GBV bills or GBV Act increase ukuthi sikwazi ukuziphendulela no provide consequence management against functionaries who are non-compliant with the directives ze domestic violence. So mphakathi wakithi yiyo le mithetho le Department of Justice esiye sanithulela yona nama services uma niwafuna akhona at the press of your button kuma cell phones wenu. Si improve nawo wonke ama services esiwaphayo kini as a result of increasing access to justice. Nyabona no program director sekayasukuma kusho ukuthi hayi sengikhulumile kwanele. Nyabonga ukuthi ningiphe isikhathi senu, and then singaphandle kuma stalls nangabe nisase neminye imibuzo eningafuna ukuthi nisibuze sona. Nyabonga kakhulu.
Siyabonga kakhulu memajila ngiyaxolisa kakhulu ngihle ngaxolisa eqaleni ukuthi unfortunately ngizoqala ngawe and ngiqala ngomama ngiwumama nami ngidirector iprogram okulandelayo ku program yethu bokufanele sibe no MEC umama uShiba kodwa ke uxolisile ngalokho ke acting executive mayor with the powers that are vested on me as a program director kune item abacelile ama offenders abomama nabobaba ukuthi bacela ukuzo renderisha 2 items. I think they are now ready. I'm going to allow them ukuthi ngalesikhathi obokufanele ngabe sinikeze uMEC umama uShiba beze bazosirenderishela the 2 items. Ngibanikeza 10 minutes. Ngiyacabanga ukuthi seni ready. Awubafake ngevosho DJ. Athathi ma video. Just a minute. Siyacela ke ukuthi singathathi ama video ithombe angithi siyazi kunalomkhuba ongasikahle la ukuthatha abantu ithombe sizihambise everywhere. Siyacela. Tswetswe. Ngiyabonga.
2, 3.
Ukuzala ukuzelula abantu abethu. Siyabonga kakhulu yiBetal Correctional Service lephuma asibashayeleni izandla. Siyabonga kakhulu kuyabonakala ukuthi imilo ziyalungiswa lapha ngendlela abacula ngakhona. Bacula kamnandi kakhulu. Sibamkeleni ke nababuya, sibamkeleni. Manje isikhathi semibuzo questions. Ngizonikeza 5 ngapha, nginikeze 5 ngapha. Since ngapha angiboni isandla, ngibone ngapha ziphakama. Ubhuti uzoba uqala.
What?
Angazi or sinayo i-roving mic. Okay. Ubhuti uzobaqala kube wesibili imask emhlophe. Number 3. There's 4 emuva ngento black, and then kune shirt check lapha. Number 5. Then sizabe sesiza ngapha. Ake sithole lemibuzo ngapha, ngisibonile isandla sakho sokuqala lapho all right. I-roving mic. Okay.
Sanibonani mphakathi. Siyaphila mina ngisakhamuzi sada Slobena. Sijabulile ukuthi kufike iminister. Mara ukujabula kwethu asijabulanga kakhulu. Minister Dana thina ngizoqala kuwe minister. Ngisicela ukuthi i-office lakho ubosifundisa Dana sifundiswe abantu abadala bafunde ngeapartheid abasazi isingisi. Bakwazi ukuziphendulela, bakubuze into lephathekile. Bonke labaphathi bakho doze nabo neqhamuke nesingisi. Asazi kabhushi ukuthi sibuye nini. Siyacela ukuthi lokho akwehle. Uma noma kuza ipresident nayo nitshele ukuthi ungezi nesingisi, uza ebantwini. Uza emaswazini. Uza eMandebeleni. Hayi singisi. Ngigcinele. Ngibuye iParliament yethu yinhle minister. And yakhiwa dasilobela. Yakhiwa from 2012 usilwela amanzi. Soda angcolile namanje ngiyabona angazi noma uyawaphuza. Angcolile. Manje ngalendlela angcole ngayo angikhulumeli ke lokho kubhekene nahulumende. Minister, nesitshela ngemaphoyisa, nesitshela ngezigamo babiza okay nami ngakhuluma lokho bathi stakeholder bahlanganisa imigamo yakahulumende. Minister, eofisini lakho wazi ngakhe baseKerolina labaqhashiwe baqhashwe laphaya eziboshweni. Wazi ngakhe kamasipalati labaqhashiwe, wazi ngakhe kunanga. Uyabona thina siphatheka kabuhlungu ukuthi kuzokwakhiwa lana kuzobhekiwa lobuhle bethu nalobubi bethu nalokungcola kwethu nalokulamba kwethu naleyimayini lezi singcolisayo. Siyaxolisa minister, asisho ukuthi siyaphoxa. Sicela ukuthi nisibuyele neqembu lelikahle, nisibuyele nombuso lo kahle. Ngixolise futhi angibaxoliseli. Bayadelela amakhansela la. Ayadelela ngaphandle ngabe beme nawe lapha. Manje besifuna deni lapha. Ayadelela. Adelela lomphakathi. Kugcwele abantu bangaphandle. Abekho abantu balaKerolina labazokhuluma ngenkinga zabo. Kunenkinga leziphezulu la. Yes. Akunankinga lesesabelweni. Isabelo asisibhadalele. Babhadalelwa ngithi bondliwa ngithi. Kuphukile kudla. Aswathoni ma 350 asitholi next. Ngiyabonga angidedele abanye bakhulume nawo.
Siyabonga. Ngicela ukuthi singashayi izandla uma umuntu asakhuluma asabuza. Ngicela ukuthi sibuze. Sibe on the point ngemibuzo. Esifuna ukwazi ngayo ngalama department akhona namhlanje la nokuthi usizo silithola kanjani. Ngiyacela mphakathi wasekhaya. Ngiyacela ngokukhulu ukuzithoba asibuzeni lokho kufanele sikubuze. Ngiyacela ngokukhulu ukuyithoba. Ngiyabonga.
Ngiyabonga nginibingelele nonke. Ngicela ukubingelela wena Minister Lamola baba wethu, ngibingelele abo DGs bethu, ngibingelele amakhosi, ngibingelele bonke abantu abakhona emphakathini nabantu abachamuka kuma different departments. Mina igama lami nguSonto Makamabanga. Yimi oyi champion Human Rights Commission owa electoral la kulo masipala. So ngiqhamuka ku Albert Luthuli Human Rights Advice Center. So I'm falling under kuma Advice Center. So angibonge kakhulu ku Department of Justice ukuthi ikhonile ukuthi yenze i memorandum of understanding between thina singama advice office kanye nawe Department of Justice. So ngibonga kakhulu ngokusebenzisana kwethu ukuthi sihambe safika la wena sowazi khona as a minister njengoba nisitshelile ku national. So yinye ke into ke engicelako ke engiyibona yenzeka kulo masipala wethu nakhona ngeke ngithi kulo masipala wethu kule ndawo yethu eSimpumalanga. Kunama traditional courts ngi-based straight ku gender based violence. Kunama traditional courts. Ubaba wethu ngathi or we NPA no i-director okhulumile la uwashilo lamagama ukuthi bekacela ukuthi amakhosi kuphele lento yezimbuzi nani. So la kwenzakala so kuma traditional leaders kune gap enkulu eyenzakalako minister And le gap eyenzakala lako lapho kuma cases gender based violence. Lama cases lawo esikhathini esiningi awinwa abobaba. Abomama abawawini ngani ngendlela yokuthi akekho umuntu ofundisekile ngeconstitution kulawo ma department lawo ezithina ama advice offices. So siyacela ukufakwa lapho sikwazi ukuthi masifakiwe lapho sikhona ukumonitor siphinde sirefere lama cases gender based violence awinwa kakhulu ilabo baba ukuthi makufanele uma sibona ukuthi akasebenzeki ngapha bese siwarefera ku magistrate. Isicelo bengisicela leso ukuthi siyacela ukuthi senzeke. And esikhathini esiningi thina sile lama organization ama advice office senza ama awareness, senza ama workshop, senze i-advocacy, senze ama dialogue la kukhulunyiswana khona, senze ama campaigns. Besicela ukuthi simane nisnikeze ithuba nina ning Department of Justice ukusebenzisana nani for ukwenza lento lena sisebenze together. I'm sure uma singenza together lo msebenzi loyo kungasenza ukuthi siphumelele. Number 3, singama advice offices sinetificate ze mediation. And mediation sithola kune backlog enkulu lapha kuma cases we domestic violence. Ama cases wakhona maningi kakhulu ukudlula even police stage mawuthi uyochecka gender based violence noma uthi uyochecka kuma social worker uthola ukuthi abantu abaningi bamthemba uDepartment of Justice baya kuye. Into engiprovile last week la ngibone la ngiye ngathola khona ukuthi banama cases amaningi just for 3 months amaningi afika kubo 200 and something gender based violence. So njengoba lama case amaningi kangaka lapho kulo Department of Justice besicela thina singama advice offices ukuthi nisifake sikhona ukusebenzisana nale department lapho na ku maintenance and na kuma divorce. So siyacela kakhulu baba ngani ngoba uma kungasetshenziswana ngalendlela lena kungaba indlela engcono yokuthi umphakathi wethu usizakale kalula. Ene okunye besicela ukuthi nimane nisenzele a straight ama call centers abe based kuma advice kuma community advice office la sizonceda khona ukuthi abantu bafonele ema police station bangakhona ukuthola usizo bese bakhona ukufonela thina singama community advice office lokhu kungasizakala. Okugcina bengicela ukuthi kube nosizo lwe-funding oluqhamukako ku social development luphinde futhi lelo sizo futhi liqhamuke ngakini as ni Department of Justice ekusebenzisaneni. Kunye kokugcina futhi bengicela ukuthi lapha ka Department of Justice kune help desk. Lapha kune help desk there is no people abalapha aba relevant and ama community advice offices yiwo are relevant for ukungenelela lapho abe kuma help desk akhone ukusebenzisana nabantu kahle ngoba bayayazi iconstitution bayakhona ukutshengisa abantu ukuthi na illegal aid bayakwazi ukusebenzisana nama prosecutor because we are the team. Ene kokugcina ngci bengicela ke ukuthi ngicela wonke lwemikhakha le ekhona la kubalwe khona ama NPA, amaphoyisa, Department of Justice, Correctional Service, ama organization wonke ukuthi sicela ukuthi sisebenzisane together for ukuthi sincede umphakathi wakithi ohluphekako. Thank you.
Number 3, sicela uzisho ukuthi ubani.
Okay, igama lami ngusibonelo kaGumbi Sibongo. Nami ngihlala khona la eCaroline emphakathini waseSlobe. Ngibingelele ngaphakathi kumhlonishwa Comrade Ronald Lamola nomphakathi wonkane nabo bonke labakhona. Ngifuna ukuzama kubuya kule topic lesikiyo Comrade Ronald. Comrade Ronald, I think lana i-question engifuna kubuya nayo ukuthi sibahlali mandla lesinawo ngumaphi masidibana nesimo la ma cases athatha sikhathi leside ukuthi aconcludeke, where else everything iphelele, evidence ikhona iphelele. Ma cases la include ukuhlukumezeka kwabantu besifazane. Ngikubekisiswa yini lokho? Kuke kwaba nesimo lesike sabakhona njengakimi personal ekuhlaleni. Sihambe icase more than 5 years yomntana mama lobeka abuseka, end up esekashona, icase solo ingaconcludwa, yonke into le determine leyo case iphelele ikhona. Also lokunye lengifuna ukuthi singicraze la or ngipose ezi question Comrade Ronald. eCarolina sine issue ye few individuals la busy ngema drugs, and ma drugs are related ku gender based violence. The same individuals bangena bayaphuma. Mawuthi uyabuza emaphoyiseni bakutshela ukuthi hayi mosithina siyababopha labantu baphuma ngala ka justice. And mawuthi uyayilandelela vele baphuma ngale ka justice. Bantu laba boshwe more than 20 times for a same thing, but they are always outside. Angase babulele ngakhe abantu kulomphakathi lomncane waseSlobela. Kuyasihlukumeza, but kulethwa idisorder lekhona lelapha angazi noma icorruption or what. Leba khona ka correctional or ka justice naka SAPS. Kuthi it's either lamaphoyisa lelicala ayaluwiknisha luze umuntu azokhona kuluwina makafika ngale ecourt. Lezi zinto sezenzeke kanye sesigcine sesayibona singumphakathi. Mandla ethu sivikele kanjani thina singapha emphakathini. Also kunale issue ye recruitment in both these departments. I don't want to appear njengomuntu lofuna ukuthi kuqhashwe bantu endaweni lethize. Siyazi South Africa bantu bavumeleke kusebenza yonke indawo ilungelo labo, but kuyawuprovoke umphakathi if ever kuzaba ne recruitment ya 30 prison warders kungabi naloyi one wasekuhlaleni. I-issue le provokayo and le push ama element la wrong, because kusasa leyo 30 lezayo after within 6 months they take ma transfer babuyela emakhaya. Sesigcine sisala nale gap uthina lesinganayo. Isho ukuthi lo mthetho le department yogcine ingasaphelelanga ngel resource cause yohlale ishoda ngebantu. Lokunye lekufuna sicela lisibukele kona Comrade Lamola kule department yaka justice. Angazi kwenzakalani because lezi zinto nithi zihamba ngema procurement nani nani. We cannot have lijele la kuhlala khona abantu labaphule umthetho leli lekha ama basics lekungekho khona ngisho idrat. Lijele laseGalini ama idrat yakhona isinyiswe ngeligodo, isinyiswe ngemagodo, and unfortunately lijele lethu li surround liseduze nomphakathi wangakithi. Ngicolise kulazaba ngizaba ngibanyathele khona la ngikhuluma khona mhlambe kabi. Kodwa lesikhathi Comrade Lamola lekufuna ngabe sidiscussa sona manje bekumele ngabe sidiscussa i-impact ye gender based violence in our communities, but we will end up sifaka ama issues e service delivery because my leaders they are not always accessible. Ngiyabonga.
Number 4, phakathi kwethu sino interpreter we sign language. I'm told ukuthi ukhona uma ngasiza ngoba mhlawumbe vele uyadingeka ukuthi a-interprete nge sign language. Sivumele ke unumber 4.
Viva people with disabilities, viva. Viva DPSA, viva. Phansi ngokubulawa kwabomama nabantwana nabantu abakhubazekile, phansi. Nothing about us without us. Ngiyabonga ukuthola lelithuba. Ngingu Sylvia wakamhlanga. Ngibuya eLukwatini Dlazatshe from Chief Albert Luthuli Ward 14. Ngibingelela uMinister, ngibingelele ama department akhona onke, ngibingelele nomphakathi and all protocol reserved. Ngiyabonga. Mina ke ngingu Sylvia. Ngilwela amalungelo ebantu labakhubatekile. Ngenza ama home visit ukuqinisekisa ukuthi abantu labakhubatekile bayathola ama services. Kunabantwana labakhubatekile lengibatholile labanengi okhanda ukuthi khubateka kwabo kwabangelwa ukuthi barejwa bo stepfather, barejwa bo stepbooty, barejwa ngabantu basemphakathini. Kunomntwana nje eArambeki so yesaba ukuphuma, uyesaba ukuya esikolweni, warejwa ngustepfather, warejwa ngubhuti wakhe, warejwa ngubaba umnikazi we Bokliston. Umntwana sofuna ukuzikhunga, ubuza umamncane wakhe ukuthi nguyiphi indlela engcono ukuthi ngizibulale ngoba lento leyenteka empilweni yami iyangizwisa ubuhlungu. Kungaba yukuzidubula noma yukushayiswa imoto noma yukunatha amaphilisi. Ibhlungu kakhulu le ndaba yokubulawa kwabantwana nabomama izusana ubuhlungu. Ubone abantu abakhomithe amaqala kusasa sohamba emphakathini uyamangala ukuthi uphume kanjani. Mina ngingiSylvia wakamhlanga ngicela ukuthi kubuye isihengo. Labantu bavele nje bajutshwe intamo kuphelele khona lapho. Ngoba uma ngabe solo lo muntu anikezwa le bail uzokwenza the same thing. Abantwana bethu abakaphephi, abomama abakaphephi, asikaphephi. Abantu abakhubazekile abakaphephi. So ngiyacela ukuthi lokho iDepartment of Justice ikuconsider. Kuvele nje kuphele indaba yakhe lo muntu. Ene ngiyakhola ukuthi nabanye bangathola isifundo. Okunye futhi ngenxa yesikhathi. Manje ngakhulu ama challenges abantu abakhubazekile. Ngiyabarifera ukuthi bathole ama services for ukuthi impilo yabo ichintshe ibe ngcono. Ngisebenzisana nawo onke ama department. Kuno dokotela lapha kasasa. Uthola ukuthi umuntu uyamthumela lokhubatekile. Ngoba mina ngibuka lesimo salomuntu. Ngiyile ekhala lo muntu ngabona ukuthi lo muntu uyadeserve. Ene ulungelo lokuthi ayithole igrant. Afike udokotela akuphikise lokho. Bese sekuyangimangalisa ke lokho ukuthi kahle kahle le grant ngeyabo bani. So siyacela singumphakathi wase Abeduthuli ukuthi labo dokotela sibambisane nabo. Kube ngabo dokotela abaza understand isimo sebantu labakhubatekile. Kunabantwana abayi5 abangakhona ukufunda kahle esikolweni ngoba nabo siyabasita. Batholile ispecial school ibantwana kodwa udokotela akafuni nemali. Ngoba labantwana abangama-slow learners badeserve ukuhola i1.8 leyabo gogo. Azokhona ukuthi aye esikolweni afunde ku special school akhona ukuthola tonke idingo takhe. Kodwa kwesinye isikhathi umangale ingaphasi imali. So ngicela ukuthi sibambisaneni. Kubonakala ukuthi udokotela lona ufundiseka kanjani ukuthi asize umphakathi. Bengisebenzisana noDr Shongwe. UDr Shongwe uyakhona ukunderstand isimo somphakathi. Labo dokotela bokubuya eNelspruit eWitbank abasisebenzisi kahle. Sicela ongenani kube ngidokotela wendawo owazi isimo sabantu bendawo. Mina ngiyasicela ngingiSylvia ukuthi izimpilo zabantu zishintshe labakhubatekile. Ngiyabonga.
Number 5.
Viva mphakathi viva. Viva mphakathi viva. Ya ngicela ukubonga kuMinister Ronald. Okay mina ngizombiza ngenickname nami uMinister Ronald Orange. Okay ngoba iOrange libiza ngeLamola. Okay. Siyabonga mhlambe okay hayi. Ma-advise mhlambe usinikeze wona. Okay nami ngeke ngibe mude kakhulu. Nje just nje ongizokhuluma kakhulu ngendaba yani yale gender based violence. Kukhona lokho ukuthi uyahamba uyalapha epolice station uyindoda uthi uyoreport ukuthi mhlambe umfazi ukushayile bakuhleka awungashaya umfazi hambana olungisa. Amaphoyisa wethu thina lana eCarolina ngizokhuluma ngikubeke lokho noma ngangibulala. Amaphoyisa wethu la Carolina awasebenzeli nganex. Uyakutekezela lana uthi uhamba uyoreport lapha babuze wena ukuthi wena usolela bani. Uyangithola? ene lokho hayi njengami ngengihambisane nako okunye futhi ngizokhala kahle kakhulu ku comrade uRonald sengizokubeka lokho ene lokho ngiyacela ukuthi mhlambe asindlulisele kubani ku president mhlambe nakafika ngapha afika asasa address ngoba la eCarolina singumphakathi hey sihlukumezeke kakhulu nangavela uthi uhamba nje uvela ngapha ama ambulance nangabelinile ahluleka ukungena imigwaco akungeneki nini ngingakhala ama transformer wala lokushini lana awavalekanga intambo zagesi siphumele ngaphandle ngakureza lokho eholweni kusicela bavale lama transformer akhiwe kuzaze kushone umntwana bangasilaleli kwashona umntwana ngale ngaphosa ngathi okay senijabulile manje ngoba kushone umntwana ngicabanga ukuthi lokho kuzawulunga kwamanje ngikhuluma ngento engiyaziyo noma ubani comrade lento engikhuluma ngazo singahamba soyibona manje ama transformer intambo zivele ngaphandle kukose kwamele ukuthi kufa omunye umntwana na umbuzo wami lo upresident ngiyacela unaloko akwazi okunye futhi ama RDP ala lokushini ayathengiswa ene lokho nginani ngine-proof yako khona umuntu omdala lana wabhasa i-RDP ngo-2014 okay amaphepha sawaplaka umama uthola ukuthi indlu yakhe i-approviwe that means indlu yakhe iphumile mara umama ngapha sobeke kuphi ubeke waiting list njani kusho ukuthi indlu yakhe ithengisiwe nini besine-meeting omunye umama wafike naye akhala wayi-aplayela i-RDP kwathiwa agibele nasagibele umama iteksi uthi uyobhasela uyolanda i-RDP yakhe kwathiwa aphathe 1,500 rand angicabangi ukuthi i-RDP iyabhadalelwa ene okunye nangicabanga awukwazi ungasebenza kansipalati ube na-3 yama-RDP lokho it's impossible siyacela comrade ngicela ningenelele ene okunye futhi esikhala ngako singahambani manje ndinde yonke le ndawo igcwele la Carolina la iganga ziningi lana mara abantu uthothi ungumphaka endlini e1 bahlala bayi8 uzogeza njani phambi kwamamakho iganga zingaka lana mama basuka lana bawukwakha ngale umasipalati wabakhipha le ganga zibekelele le ganga zigcwele so lana mina engikucelayo manje ene sizokwenza before upresident afika sizoya kamasipalati bangasinikezi le land egcwele lana ngithatha umphakathi mina sithatha amapiki sofaka ini itanti ngenkani ngoba kuze asinedeki nganix ngiloko nje ngibekayo ngicela ma comrade angenelele uSirama Ramaphosa angenelele siyahlukumezeka kuphe Carolina cela ngebele ma comrade ngiyabonga
konje ubani wena awuzisho
oh ucomrade Thiza Masina bangibiza ngogodla itshintshi
siyabonga kunesandla sokuqala bengisikhombile number 1 number 2 number 3 number 4 emuva zi4 izandla ngapha kule site.
Thank you, Program Director. I was the last person that you've noted on this site. Phakathi sanibonani njani?
Hayibo.
Ngocomrade Makaza Kantuli.
Hayibo uzibona sowumile. Benginothi abantu abayi5 nabantu abayi5 bakhulumile. But ngoba sowumile zisho ke ukuthi ubani and then ubeka iquestion yakho.
Thank you, Program Director. Ngithanda ukubingelela umphakathi, the Honorable Minister, Comrade Lamola, and all our visitors akhona la ngaphakathi kwethu. Igama lami ngicomrade Makaza Kantuli, ngihlale wa 22 la eCarolina. Kokuqala ke comrade ngifuna ukukubuza ukuthi siyabona uminister ukhona ngaphakathi kwethu, but the question will be where is the mayor, where is the speaker wase Chief Albert Thuli? Ngoba there's no one oserepresentayo la kule cabinet ehleli lapha comrade. Ngoba you cannot allow and afford ukuthi bonke labantu baya actelwa. As uminister yena decided to come eCarolina yena in person, why bona bangabi khona? Sizocela ama answers from the minister ukuthi asirespondele on that regard. To the justice system yase South Africa should protect and talk to the needs yabantu base South Africa. The same system, comrade, should ensure ukuthi the land bayasinikeza back sibantu base South Africa. Bangasolo this issue by prolonga. We need the land right now. And secondly, comrade, ngoba we see ukuthi the same justice is protecting the white monopoly capital's interest nama business wabo. But on our case, ayisinikezi any access to the economy ukuthi siparticipate kiyo. As we speak today, to the same event esinayo lana, when you check the issue of the procurement, Honorable Minister, akekho noyone umuntu waseCarolina otholile any service kule event le. That means all the service providers, they are from Nelspruit, they are from Pretoria, they are from Joburg. A Chief Chief Albert Tuli, there's no one otole umsebenzi to the same event. So how can we grow economically? Singabantu base Chief Albert Tuli, meanwhile, we are still oppressed by our own government of the day. And the same justice, there's no equality. Still white people, after the 29 years of democracy, basabathatha serious in South Africa. But black people, they don't taking us serious at the end of the day. So we cannot say that there's equality among us as black people and white. And Carolina, Correctional challenge food. There's no police. The detective unity, the head, about calling investigator. I'm happy that you know Mama Brigadier Mtunga la phakathi kwethu. Sicela amaphoyisa enough, there's a shortage of staff. There's no police in Carolina, there's no even cameras on the street that can capture any crime eyenzakala ebusuku. So one of the town crime like increase corner so rapidly each and every day. Another thing, Honorable Minister, the legal aid office elapaya ML, ayisincedi-ke thina sibantu bala Chief Albert Tuli. Every time when you go to that office, bakutshela ukuthi base esekunda. There's no one ongamthola ukuthi leyo mhlambe leyo case you need a lawyer in that particular time akhona ukuku-assista. Siyacela nokuthi singenelele in that particular office. And sibonile ke bantu ngaphambilini bawaluza ama case because of the legal aid team or ama lawyers wabo. But we want to know what are the reasons. Why funa ngwini case ngoba ngibhadalile? Lo ongirepresenta mahala funa ngiluze case. Those are some of the issues that affect us ngumphakathi. And also in Carolina, the farm dwellers baya attackwa kakhulu labelungu labamaplus. We take all these matters to a police station, bazokurefer ukuthi go to a court. Zamane court nithola ummeli, lo mmeli nokhuluma naye lo mlungu kakhe. So that means the farm dwellers' right by our victimizer at the end of the day. Sifuna kwazi ke namuhla ukuthi if sihlukumezwa abelungu emaplazini, which office efuna sekilo siyokhala direct ngoba the police they say they cannot open a case if umlungu ahlukumeza abantu eplazini or athi bangasangeni. So uzosinceda kakhulu ke lapho Honorable Minister. And then nale system yalama call center. Every time ngihlale Carolina when I dial 10111 yongena eNelspruit noma yongena eMiddelburg. Ake sibe nayo ke kwathina la eGertsibande leyo 10111 so that sazi ukuthi sizo accessa that service so easy at the end of the day. Ngiyabonga.
Izandla bezu4 ngapha. Ngicela zibe u4 okwamanje. Sandla sokucala besile move. Ngicela uzisho ukuthi ubani. No, but
ngizothanda awumezweni manidala ngiphakamisile manibonile bohleli phansi lapha. Ngizothanda ukubingelela umphakathi waseCarolina isilobela. Ngizoba basically lapha ngizoba lapha basically ku gender based violence. And then lento iba inkinga kakhulu lena ngoba kwesinye isikhathi abantu besilisa bayahlukumezeka. Athi uma ehlukumezeka umuntu wesilisa athaya lapha yakwa SAPS station ayofuna ukuthola usizo. Indaba yakhe bayithathe laws bahleke bamhleke bathi wena ungathi ucine kangaka uhluleke ukuthi ungahlukunyezwa umfazi. Kanti lento leyo kufuna bayithathe serious ngoba ekugcineni uzoya lo muntu kabili kathathu okangakhe okai5 ekugcineni bese kuba khona le anger uma seyenzeka lento iphindeka endlini kugcine ekutheni ukuthi lo muntu agcine seka limaza noma sekabulala lo muntu wesimama. Ekugcineni kutholakala ukuthi lapho sekose sengila khona iSAPS seyiactor khona sekunena kunjani ni violence ethize lapho ukuhlukumezeka okuthize. Ngizoba basically lapho ukuthi nabo abantu bakwa SAPS ngiyathemba ukuthi lapha estation kufanele babambisane nabantu besilisa ukuze lento siyibambe sibe imbumba kanye nabantu besimame ekulweni nokuhlukunyezwa kwabomama. Lento leyo kufanele ukuthi sibambisane, singayibuki ngesandla esisodwa ngoba uma ubhekisisa isandla somuntu, isikhumba sangapha phakathi sihlukile nesangapha sihlukile. So ke lento leyo kufuna siyiphayile siyenze ibe yodwa minister. Ngicela nethi lapho minister siyibambe nethi lapho minister. And enye into engizokhuluma ngayo futhi minister noma sengithi ukubalabaleka kancane yiyo into ayewayicoacha umfethu eyomhlaba ukuthi kufanele abantu banikezwe umhlaba. Ngisho yini lokho? Still ngisase base ku basic base violence. Lapho ukuthi kutholakala ukuthi umuntu uhlala emkhukhwini omncane. And uma hlala emkhukhwini omncane, lapha kulomkhukhu omncane kutholakala ukuthi bangaki bawu9 noma bawu11. Uyabona? That's why lapho bese se creator khona ukuthi kube khona ama rape lapho kutholakala ukuthi stepfather sesikhona ukuhlukumeza ingane ngoba kukhona ukuthile ayaye akubone la endlini kwenzeka. Uyabona elinye iphathi lomuntu wesimama ayalibona tholakala bese sekuyahlukumezeka lapho. Iqala lapho lento ye rape njengoba aye wayicoacha usesi ngaphambilini. Siyacela nje ukuthi ube khona umhlaba kanjalo. I think ngiyabonga. I thank you.
Siyabonga unumber 2 4 3 4 5. Ngicela bazoma la balandelana. Ngicela beme la phakathi nendawo balandelana. Ubaba la angazi isandla sakhe siphakamele ukuthi ufuna ukukhuluma baba. Okay ngizokunikeza baba sehlisi isandla sakho uhlale lapho phansi. Number 2 3 and 4 4 and 5. Ngicela nimela. Yes. Nime lapho kungazongenelela abanye esingabanikezanga ukuthi bakhulume.
Yebo mama.
Siyabonga uzisho ke mfowethu.
Uzweli khumalo khona la isilobela egalini. Umbuzo wami ubheke ku legal aid board. Mhlonishwa bengicela ukwazi ukuthi ku legal aid board siyakhona ukumela amacala acivil njengamacala wecriminal. Yingani na ngisho njalo ngoba thina njengoba sisebenza la emphakathini siyaye sibhekane namacala mostly acivil. Ngiyabonga.
Siyabonga yazini short and sweet and to the point. Number 2, number 3.
Sanibonani mphakathi. Ngiyabulisa ke nakubaba uRobert, ubaba Lamola. Thina lana emphakathi wase Carolina sifuna ukukhulumela indaba yasemaplazini.
Konje ubani?
Igama lami uMoses wakashonga. Sifuna ukukhulumela indaba yasemaplazini because thina simphakathi ohlala emaplazini and sifila ukuthi asikho safe emaplazini. Ningcono umphakathi wasemalokishini because nina nihlala emhlabeni wa government. Thina sihlala emhlabeni ophethwe amabhunu, senza into efuna amabhunu ngesikhathi afuna ngaso. Sifila ke thina ukuthi manje na umthetho awukazivikeli thina la emaplazini because thina emaplazini sinama claim esawafaka ngabo 2002 kodwa till today akunanto eyenzekayo emaplazini. And thina emaplazini abelungu bahambile bayishila imhlaba bahambile bahleli kubojobeke emafletini badla kahle. Thina silambile asikhona ukuya ku government wethu asisize uma sithi siyofuna izinto zokusebenza emaplazini. Government wethu uphinde asibuze ukuthi asitshele ukuthi angeke asisize because of ama title deed ngoba I title deed yomhlaba ayibizi thina. So sicela ukuthi minister nisicheckele ukuthi lama title deed laphethwe ebelungu akusiyiwo yini enza ukuthi thina la emaplazini sife indlala na. And thina la emaplazini le democracy esayivotela isangakafiki kahle ngoba thina asikahlali emhlabeni wa government lesamvotela. sisahlele emhlabeni walabantu labasicindezele. Ngiyabonga.
Siyabonga. Number 4, Uzisho.
Igama lami Mthuzani Gratitude Malinga. Yeah, ngumhlali wala Carolina. I was born in Batachi in Carolina. Ngibonga honorable Minister Ronald Lamola uthi uthathe isikhathi sakho uze lana eCarolina. Ngibingele yonke i-directorate yaka Department of Justice and Constitutional Development nema-parastatals wakhona wonke laphelele. Yeah, ngiyabonga. Nginathi ama question la lengifuna kwa raise in front of you Minister na nonke nina bo nonke nisebenza khona ku-department yaka more especially ka correctional services. Yeah. Lana i-question yami yokuqala ithi ngicela ni-check ma roots or ma cause or ma fundamentals we gender based violence. Ngicela ni-check lapho. By saying so kuze ngikuraise lokho. Yabona le ndaba yama drugs kahle hle i-cause lenkulu kahle hle yale kahle hle yalo bebhetheka mhlambe kwale sifo bathi i-gender based violence. Cause bantu bayenza la wathatha lama drugs wabo le elsewhere. Bafika la zindlini bese benze njani kuvuka lemimoya lemibi la phakathi kwalo muntu loyo. Shothi kahle hle idemon liyavuka kuye lo muntu loyo agcine mhlambe enza lento lembi kulomnye umuntu. And lento le ngicela ni-check kakhulu. Ngicela ukuthi okay ile enforcement ayithathe inangjani mhlambe kunangjani ownership ukuthi manje ayinqobele lento le ndaba yama drugs more especially akuhlaleni kwethu. Yeah. Bantu bokuhamba vele bawathengisa ama drugs of which lama drugs lawo wathatha abantu bagcine labantu abenze ilwane egcineni of which egcineni besebenza yani bese bayenza yonke lento le bo gender based violence. 2 Minister ngisacela ukuthi lapha emajele ilijele ukuthi umuntu ijele akusinto limbi ijele akusinto indawo lekabi indawo ukuthi umuntu bakenze something ku community or mhlambe la kuhlaleni or kuphi masafika le ejele le ukuthi umuntu bese uya rehabilitateka umuntu a change isimo labe kaphila kiso aphume a right. Ngisacela ukuthi Minister nani ma prison warden ngicela ukuthi enforce umthetho kakhulu. Bantu bangena ba right emajele bese bantu baphuma emajele baphuma sebabonya uphi lento yenyawuphi lena likhona ku society yethu. Babhema insango babhema yenyawuphi sekhona emajele manje. Mina ngakhomba abantu labayithuli ngeke bangcwaba I think uMatriesberg. Majida lengikhulina lengicompetition na matric labanye benginaba teacher. Labo bantu labo bangenile bangene ba right bakababoshwa bangene ba right. Baphuma babonye uphi kakhulu indlela abanye uphi labakhona la kuhlaleni la. Mara iqine begcine sebashona labantu labo sibangcwaba ngenxa ukuthi manje lezi zinto babe expose phakathi ejele la kosiba rehabilitate khona. But come on government blame nina kakhulu lapho nina lenicashele ukuthi nina lama offenders inowancede no rehabilitate ukuthi manje bafike la kuhlaleni babe abantu laba right. Come on lapho le blaming nika nina mananjani ma prison warden of which nani ma social workers those people we were supposed ukuthi manje nibancede. Lapho vele hayi vele ngikhomba nina kakhulu ni wrong. Ngiphinde ngibuye futhi Minister ngisacela ukuthi Minister ma offenders okay niyakhona kuba rehabilitator nibanike those skills laba choose ngibo whereas okay nibanika into zabo boiler makers electrician lapha phakathi ma artisan skill stream sama artisan. Okay bantu niyabanceda okay baphuma la ngephandle but imqedeni bayekelele lapho at least banikeni maybe kube nale program ukuthi mhlambe njenga okay la kuhlaleni kunabo NYDA into zomsobomvu or whatever. But akube na mhlambe that directorate mhlambe linceda ma offenders laba laphumile labathole those certain skill phakathi ejele ukuthi mhlambe le directorate le incede those people labo ma offenders ukuthi manje okay baba fande at least bavulise ma CK and so forth because those guys baphuma lana la hlele so kosi beba inkinga yabantu baqala phasi lo ma skill abasebenzisi because abana funding because bantu okay sebane ma criminal record on whatever labathola abasancedakali sababuye babamthwalo futhi baqala pass futhi benza lento leyo lebabeke ejele baqala baganga futhi babile ejele akube naleyo lelo commission lemhlambe lincede abantu lawo bantu lababoshiwe ukuthi manje labantu labo akube mhlambe babafande baqhubeka bananjani amabhizinisi abancedakali because abaqasheke igcinini lapho department njengoba ngivele uhulumeni ukhona lapho ngibeka wena leyo task le akucela uthathe le commission le yokunceda ama offenders lapho ejele ukuthi manje bancedakala igcinini bagcine bathole ba create ama jobs opportunities please ngiyabonga.
Number 5.
Sanibonani. Ningipopisa indane khona la kuhlaleni. Ngikhulele la ngizalelwe la. Ngithanda ukunibingelela nonke baphathi bami. Ngikhona ukunibiza ngezigaba ngenegaba. Kwangihlula isikolo ngabaleka ngebreak. Sengiva buhlungu la ngoba laba labasiphethe balana bodumo wasekhaya ngibaboni bobani bana ngibaboni ngiva buhlungu kakhulu mara kusana ndaba vele into yabo sibajwayele. Mina bengithanda kungezelela nethi khona lana thina singumphakathi wala kuhlaleni sinenkinga yabo khokho omkhulu basabhalisa umhlaba solo abasiphenduli solo silindile ene masiya kamasipala abayingeneleli sebesicela ukuthi umphathisa wethu amana asindlulisele leyo mlayezo okunye futhi besicela futhi singumphakathi sihlupheka ngosasa siyahamba siyakasasa enhlazatshe masifike kasasa enhlazatshe kufuna senze appointment sidraye sihamba ngemali asisebenzi umsebenzi othe caca sondla abantwana sihlala nema orphan masifika kasasa kwesinye isikhathi siyenze appointment sithi siyabuya evukezako but bathatha 30 ufike ladi ngo9 vele kumele ujiwe bathatha leyo 30 uthi uyabuya ngakusasa ulala enhlazatshe uthi uyabuya ngakusasa bathi kahle kahle nine bantu basegalina sinifuni nisuka le niyekela kuzilwela kubaphathi benu niza ne corona ene asasa kufuna sibaleke sishonephi ngiyacela baphathi bami ngiyabonga.
Okay, awu mama. Uzibone sowumile.
Ngiyabingelela mphakathi.
Sala soqhubeka mawami. Sala soqhubeka.
Ngiphatheke kabi kakhulu ngoba ngiva isikhathi esinenge kukhuluma abantu base Caroline bakhalela indawo yabo.
Umama konjubani yena?
Mina ngingusina Dlamini umamsoko eKromkrans. Ngiyajabula abantu baseGalina ukuthi nikhulume kuyezwakala iklo zenu. Mina ngikhala ngo-ex wami lengimshaya ngilayishwe ngeteksi le. Ngilethwe ngizoshaya u-ex la eTown Hall. Nangikade kumshaya u-ex angisizakala ngomgwaqo. Angisizakala ngesikolo. 75% yebantwana abane 3 weeks ngomgwaqo nezimvula abangakaze baye esikolweni. Indlela zilimele mara bayangigugumatha nakuzokwenziwa u-ex. Amavotu ami ngiyakhala ngokuba asebenzela iCarolina. Mina ngisizakala ngalutho. Isikolo sibekwe lemgwaqweni lothi bantwana nakundlula amalori bahlole ngefansteri. Kodwa mina eKromkrans nginendawo eshiwe nje yamahala yokuthi asidingi kuthengisa ibala njengalenye indawo labadonsela lesikolo ukuthi siye khona la ngikhona mina ayithengiswe indawo zibuyele emasisweni manje siswela isikolo siswela ikliniki amanzi siyabonga niyasizama mara izindlela ziyonakela awatholakali kulamala kulamaviki lawa vela sinatha wona lawa nje lamoshe umgwaqo kubuhlungu emoyeni wami baphathi bami nina esifobe wa 21 nibabi ene sibakhethe sibathanda labantu bakhuluma isingisi ngathi benzela kusisiza kanti umuntu singisi sakhe siphandela kwesakhe.
Sewuvala mamdlamini.
Buhlungu bathi eKromkrans asina budget mara igezi ingenile amanzi ayeza kanti kuza njani singabi nebudget yokusizakala nathi besicela baphathi bethu nisibonelele ngendaba kakhulu yesikolo nomgwaqo. U-ex wethu simushayele le. Angisafuni ngoba ngizogcina ngifile ngalamabhasi ngiyabonga.
Siyabonga. Bengrecognize umkhulu la. Ngizocela nje umkhulu naye abe short and to the point. Cha, hayi loyo. Angimazi ke uqhamukaphi. Umkhulu nangihleli phansi. Ngiyacela wogcina. Mkhulu ungakhuluma, ngabuza umbuzo wakho. Mkhulu khuluma.
Manje mina yinye into lengicelayo la Galena bangibhalisa bathi ngalesihlanu ngizothola sinkwa kanye ngalesihlanu kodwa manje abasanginiki lesinkwa sangalesihlanu.
Umkhulu emuva lapha asisamuza umkhulu uthini la.
Babhalisa mina babhalisa i-ID yami benza konke bathi ngalesihlanu ngizothola sinkwa kanye ngalesihlanu abasanginiki lesinkwa. La Galena.
Hey, phana umkhulu isinkwa sakhe man. Hayi. Oh hayi. Nika umkhulu isinkwa sakhe.
Bathi bazanginika ngalesihlanu babhale i-ID yami babhala konke kwami. Kanti badlala ngami. La Galena.
Mkhulu uyayithola igrant.
Angiyitholi.
Uyamthola uTepa?
Angiyitholi igrant.
Amtholi. Okay.
Manje mina bathi bazanginika nethi sinkwa ngalesihlanu njalo.
Oh, okay.
Babhale i-ID yami.
Okay.
Lapha eBekhala. Angibazi ukuthi bobani laba.
Umkhulu ubani konje yena?
Igama Elijah Phakathi.
Elijah Phakathi, social development ngiyakhola ikhona negrant yamkhulu. Mkhulu bakuzwile mkhulu. Isinkwa sakho
babhale i-ID yami. Abasanginiki isinkwa bathi ngalesihlanu ngiyothola sinkwa. Kusho ukuthi badlala ngami.
Kuzwakele mkhulu. Mphakathi wasekhaya siyazi ukuthi inkinga ziningi. Uma singahlala la sizikhuluma kuzosana kusasa. So now ngizocela ukuthi ama department ngiyakhola bewanota lokho okuqondene nama department wabo. Ngizocela ukuthi beze ngibone ukuthi bayingaki and then ba responde very briefly and to the point. Ngiyacela ma department. NPA bathi ngiqale ngawo. NPA nayi mic.
Sanibonani futhi. Sanibonani futhi. Ngizophendula umbuzo obuzwe uMiss noma Mrs Sonto Mabanga wase Albert Luthuli. Nombuzo obuzwe uSylvia Mhlanga waseNhlazatshe. Umama uSonto Mabanga ukhulume ngendaba yokuthi ubuya kwa Human Rights Center yalapha Albert Luthuli. Nokuthi ucela ukuthi baba recognize ukuthi kube khona umsebenzi abawenzayo. Into engicela ukukwazisa yona ukuthi bakhona abantu abasebenzayo lapha kwa justice njengama social workers, ama probation officers. Mangabe uyaqualify kuzosho ukuthi wenze isicelo esiqondiso eminyangweni kwa Department of Justice ukuze bakwazi ukukwenzela iaccreditation. Kodwa njengamanje umuntu obuya kwi-center ekwamasipala Human Rights Center asinayo indlela yokuthi sim accommodate endleleni yangendlela sisebenza ngayo NPA nomnyango kaJustice. Kodwa mangabe awukaphenduleki kahle ngizocela uze lapha ethendeni la uNPA ezobe ekhangisa khona ukuthi sizokuchazela ngendlela ejulile. Mayelana nomama uSylvia Mhlanga okhuluma ngokuthi kukhona ingane ezihlukumeziwe. Siyacela ukuthi labo bantu bahlanganise nomnyango wezamaphoyisa ukuze bakwazi ukuvulelwa amacala. Kuphenywe uma sekuphenyiwe amaphoyisa azothumela amadokethi kuthina ukuthi nathi sisho ukuthi kulungile sebangabopha noma kwenziwe njani. Nawe futhi ngizosho ukuthi woza ethendeni lethu sikwazi ukuchazela ngendlela ejulile. Mayelana nelezi zicelo othi udokotela uzalile zokuthi abantu bafanele bathola imali yokuthi bakhubazekile. Angikwazi ukuphawula lapho ngoba udokotela kusho ukuthi ngiyacabanga ukuthi udokotela unezizathu anazo ezenza ukuthi athathe isinqumo asithathile. Nakhona lapho ngizocabanga ukuthi ufanele uyohlangana nomnyango kaSasa uzokwazi ukukweluleka ukuthi le ndaba yakho bayihlolisise uzodinga ukuthi wenze njani. Enkulumeni endabeni yephuzo elilivezile ukuthi izinto isikhathi esiningi besikhuluma ngesingisi siyaxolisa. Kodwa kuba lula njengoba siqhubene kanje ukuthi sisebenzise isingisi sisiqhube nesizulu noma ulimi olukhulunywa kuleyo ndawo la kune event khona kahulumeni. Ngiyabonga.
Siyabonga. Next department amaphoyisa. Amaphoyisa.
From court interview.
Court. Sixolise kakhulu bathi kuno court interpreter mina ngiyibeke ngathi sign language interpreter kanti court interpreter.
Alright, siyabonga kakhulu. Ngithanda ukusho futhi ukuthi njengoba umfowethu exolisile ukuthi sisakhuluma ngolimi la kaGeorge kanti sizokhuluma nomphakathi wakithi. Nisixolele kakhulu. Umbuzo enye ngawuthatha kakhulu uma bakhuluma abafowethu lapha ukuthi lokuhlukunyezwa esikubonayo la emphakathini wakithi kubangelwa kakhulu izidakamizwa okusho ukuthi mhlawumbe laba abathengisa lama drugs ekuhlaleni ababoshwa wachaza umfowethu ukuthi noma baboshwa abanye bayaphuma. Sithanda ukusho ukuthi samaphoyisa sizoqhubeka ngokuthi sibabophe ngoba asikufuni lokho. Siyabona intsha yethu iyaphela ngalezi dakwamizwa. So sizoqhubeka sikuthethe lokho sikwenze ukuthi kube i-priority noma kube iloku esizosebenza ngako kakhulu ukuthi sibasuse bonke labo. Siyathemba nokuthi i-court yethu ama-case amaningi abakaze bawachithe uma sesibabophile bayawa-enrolla bayavela ekhotho labo bantu. Omunye umbuzo noma isikhalo kube ukuthi uma obaba abahlukunyeziwe behlukunyezwe omama ngoba bakhona bobaba abashaywayo ekuhlaleni, abanye baze bashaywe na abantu ababo. Uma beza e-police station bezobika amacala, amaphoyisa wethu awabasizi, bakhuluma ngalendlela bakhuluma ngayo. Lapha e-police station ukhona u-station commander, u-lieutenant uKennel ubaba uMashinini. Uma sewuhlulekile lapha e-church office ungasizakali, cela ophethe i-station. Uma uzohlulwa uye udaba lwakho sowungalithumela la ngisebenzela khona eMelo e-district. So angeke sivume ukuthi umphakathi wethu ungathola usizo ukuthi sinabantu ababeke ukuthi basize umphakathi. Okunye futhi namagama akhona sinamanamtek. Amaphoyisa wethu wonke angena emsebenzini ngaleso sikhathi kufanele achaze ukuthi ubani. So ngiyacabanga ukuthi sizokulinda konke lokho ukuthi umphakathi wethu ufanele ukuthi usizakale. Omunye umbuzo uye waba ukuthi lapha e-police station amaphoyisa mancane ngendlela emangazayo. Okwamanje inani esinalo lamaphoyisa o abasebenza abakhona lapha e-police station inumber ithi 72. Ngithanda ukusho kumphakathi wonke ukuthi siyesa kwaba nokungahleleki kahle ngenxa yesimo uma kuqala i-COVID ngo-2020. Amaphoyisa okwakufanele aye e-college ngaleso sikhathi. Siyakhumbula ukuthi izwe lonke lalivaliwe, konke kwamiswa ngaleso sikhathi leso. Kodwa ngithanda ukukusho namhlanje ukuthi i-province yonke yaseMpumalanga njengoba unyaka uqalile, abantwana abahambile ukuyotraina ukuthi babe maphoyisa bawu-742 esibalindele ukuthi masinya bazobuya. Kuleyo number sizokwazi ukuthi si-addresse le nkinga esinayo kuwo wonke ama-police station wethu ngoba wona ngempela siyawadinga amaphoyisa. Sikhuthaze futhi ukuthi nabantwana bethu uma sikhipha emaphepheni ukuthi siyachasha siya-recruiter abeze phambili. I-process yinde. Omunye uzothi mhlambe emaphoyiseni sithatha izihlobo, angeke kwenzeke ngoba uma mina ngenza i-interview kuba nabanye ama-psychologist. Ayikho indaba ukuthi uzobhadala omunye umuntu bese uyaphumelela. I-process ye-recruitment yinde kakhulu kuze kufike ekugcineni. Ngiyabonga.
Siyabonga Mamntungwa. Bizabani, Correctional Service.
Ngiyabonga Program Director. Ngicela ukuxolisa nami on behalf of Correctional Services ukuthi ngaza ngakhuluma isilungu esikhulu. Bekufanele ukuthi ngikhulume ulimi lwasekhaya. Angilazi kahle, angilifundanga ebeleni, bengisaba ukuthi ngizokhuluma into engafanele. So ngicela ukuthi nisixolele nathi. Ngizwe ama questions ukukhuluma ngenyawo bheka ukuthi igcwele kakhulu ejele. And isikalo lesi nathi we are concerned about it because we do not manufacture nyaupe la sisebenza khona. Inyaupe angazi isidakamizwa siyangena ejele asazi ukuthi siletha ubani. Sicela ukuthi nisize ukuthi inyaupe ingangeni ngoba siyasearcha ekhaya sisifumane mase sisitholile ke bese umuntu akwazi ukuthi asikhulumele ukuthi uyithathephi. Laba babuya khona ejele baye emakhaya basebenzisa lesi sidakamiswa kakhulu. Sicela ukuthi nisixolele futhi because thina siyabasiza and sinama programs njengoba substance abuse programs siyakhuluma ukuthi inyaupe ikhona and sicela ukuthi ningayisebenzise ngoba nizozibulala ngokweni. Ama contrabands akusinyaupe kuphela akhona amanye asiwatholayo asingawa manufacture thina ekhaya. Amanye aza nevakashi ivakashi yithi laba basekhaya the community. Sicela ukuthi nisixolele futhi nisize ningalethi logo laba basilethayo bayazazi ngokwabo. Siyacela because tina our work is to correct, it's not ukuthi sihlale sifuna idakamisa ije. Employment ya umsebenzi for abantu basemphakathini ngicela ukuthi leyana size ngithumele ekhaya ukuthi ize ikhulunywe ngoba kubhlungu ukuthi uthola abantu bawu 30 those that do not belong la ekhaya bese after a year or two bathi bona bafuna ukubuyela ekhaya eJohannesburg. It is not fair but sizozama ekhaya ukuthi sibhekisise le nkinga. Now the root causes of gender-based violence. Ngizoyikhuluma ngesilungu ngoba uyikhulume ngesilungu nawe buti wami ngiyathemba ukuthi ngizozwakala kahle. Ngithi the root causes they are vary from our experiences. Akusi only one reason or one cause for gender-based violence. Lo ngathi it's common among everybody. Onke umuntu uza ne inkinga yakhe or uza ne reason ukuthi mina bekwenzeke so besi under influence of drugs. Abanye bazothi hayi ngilwe nomama ekhaya ngabona ukuthi vela ngithathe into yami ngiye ngamandla, or mama uzothi no, I have been framed. So thina sizawuthini ke lapha. All we have to say is to create awareness, but the reasons vary, they are not common to everyone. But after care services angithi nje seba bazawuphuma baye emakhaya. Kunama institutions ngaphandle kwe correctional services. Bakune social development, kunama private organizations. Amanye akhona nani nikhona umphakathi ukuthi ningabasiza abantu bakithi. So what is important ukuthi we have to know ukuthi what is the problem, and then for aftercare where do we refer for further assistance outside of correctional services. We do that a lot, and bayazazi ama agencies angaphathi siyabazi nabo bangaphandle labo basizayo. So people do get help, ex-offenders do get help. Thank you very much for that. Ngiyabonga ma'am.
Thank you. Legal aid, are you fine? Oh, now yes. Legal aid. After legal aid, kuno sesi ukinelwe obuya office like speaker provincial legislature. Naye ukhona afuna ukuzisho emphakathini esekhaya ngomba kwababu
Nzondo. Easy ne? Yeah.
Ngomba kwababu Nzondo sizonikeza usiskine.
Thank you. Ngiphinde ngibulise umphakathi wase Carolina. Indaba ye language has been addressed. Ngizozama ukuthi ngixubaxube nje ngokwenkulumo language wise. Wenzela ukuthi sicover mhlambe nalabo abanye bangabasize mase sikhuluma kakhulu ulwimi lakithi. I am not sure if ngwazile ukubamba yonke imibuzo that were put forward, but before ngizama ukusummarize those that I was able to consolidate. I will ngicela ukubonga kubo bonke abantu ababe nemibuzo ebeyibhekiswe ku-legal aid. As you would know that ngithe ngithi ngiqeda ukukhuluma ngisathi ngithi ngishaya umoya ngadonseka ngamabhantshi la ngaphandle abantu badinga uncedo, so ngiyengachithi isikhashanyana ngaphandle ngizama ukuphendula some of the questions lapha ngaphandle. But I will try to answer imibuzo ebuziwe here in the house. Khona umbuzo othe kuyenziwa yini ukuthi u-legal aid aluze ama-case. Ukuyibeka ngendlela elula leyo, makukhulunywa ama-case kuba nama-side ahlukahlukene wendaba. Now ummeli wakho we-legal aid uhlala nawe athathe i-statement sakho akululeke ngokusemthethweni, lento esibiza ngokuthi legal advice. Makaqeda apresente i-case yakho or indaba yakho ngendlela directe ngayo wena, omluleke ngayo, sesibiza ngokuthi i-instruction, ngendlela instructe ngayo wena. Now to say i-case iyaluzwa e-court, I think mhlawumbe siyibiza ngendlela wrong, because kumele sikhumbule ukuthi sithi masiqeda ukuyibeka indaba yakho on your behalf e-court, umantshi wenza isinqumo. Isinqumo singamantshi ngenzeka ukuthi singabi in your favor. I think yilento mhlambe the person ebeka ibuza. Ngenzeka isinqumo sikamantshi singabi in your favor, but our legal system isebenza ngendlela yokuthi uma ngabe isinqumo esikamantshi ome phambi kwakhe wena singahambelani nawe, it does not favor you, you can always take your matter on appeal. I'm sure amongst us here bakhona abantu that have taken a case on appeal. Ithi maseyifika kwabanye abantu bomthetho ama-judge, the decision ibe in their favor. So you can't say you lost really. Kuba nje into ukuthi ngaleso sikhathi umantshi olalele indaba yakho ngendlela ebekwe ngayo unqume ngendlela abeke ngayo. I hope I have covered that question. Kodwa uma ngabe kusakhona some more information ongayidinga, sikhona sine stand outside, you can still come and approach us. Omunye umbuzo engiwunothile ukuthi as uLegal Aid South Africa ngabe siyawayenza ama-case we-civil. Yebo siyawayenza. So uma ngabe une-case ye-civil, don't hesitate to come. Do visit us, sizokwazi ukuthi sikuncede nge-civil case. I think kuyaba futhi nombuzo othinta indaba yokuthi sometimes kuyaye kwenzeka ukuthi uyi-client or uyi-member yomphakathi ufike ema-ofisini waka-legal aid uthole ukuthi mhlawumbe akunamuntu. Ordinarily ngokwenjwayelo you will always find someone ema-ofisini wethu. Kodwa ke ngoba sibuya esimweni sakwa-COVID, kube ne-period lapho to try and protect umphakathi nabantu abasebenza kithi as Legal Aid South Africa. Besisebenza nge-rotation. Kule viki abanye bakhona, kuleliya viki abanye abekho. Kodwa bekungasho ukuthi mawufikile udinga uncedo bongeke ulithole. Ngiye ngachaza earlier on mangi addressa about what ngento esizenza illegal aid ukuthi we also have a call center. So einkathini lapho kungenzeka ukuthi ufike in one of our offices uthole ukuthi akunabantu, we always would direct ukuthi thinta i-call center yethu. Uma ngabe ungenama means wokuthinta i-call center for whatever reason, besiyishiya inotice yokuthi thumela i-please call. Ngiyakhumbula ukuthi ngiye ngasho ukuthi sine number ye-please call me. Mangabe udinga uncedo and mhlambe awukwazi ukuthinta i-call center uvela uthi please call me, we will call you. So thina sifonela wena mawusithumela please call me. So those were some of the measures ebesinazo during isikhathi lesi se COVID lockdown. Kodwa manje we are back, we are there every time, every day you will find us. I hope I've covered all the concerns. Kodwa we are still available ngaphandle. We are still waiting for your questions and inquiries. Ngiyabonga.
Auskinelwe etla.
Ke a leboga program director Nyabonga. All protocol observed. Dumelang bagaetso. Sanibonani bahlobo bami. Ninjani kodwa? Ngiyaphila angikho ku program so angeke ngithathe isikhathi eside ngihijackile ne, but ngicabanga ukuthi nizoyithanda lento engizoyikhuluma. Okay, my name is Kineilwe Mputle. Igama lami nguKineilwe wakwaMputle ke ngwanyana Motswana. Who happened ukuthi asithole sika seMaswatini. Angithi bathi mawuse Roma yenza njengamaroma ne. So ngizocela ukuthi ningibeketele mangathi sengikhuluma isifana kaloko wabona isifana kaloko ilanguage yasemayina ngithi because I am not angikhuluma iSwati ngikhuluma iSetswana mara ngizozama. The reason why ngimela phambili ngikhulume no program director ngicele i5 minutes ukuthi ngizothi meme kancane nani. Sengishilo ukuthi igama lami nguKineilwe, Kineilwe ifana nokuthi uthi siphiwe or simphiwe ngesizulu or ngeSwati. So mina ngibuya eMpumalanga provincial legislature. I-legislature yini? Isishaya umthetho ne fana nokuthi uminister buya ku national parliament. Ama province nawo bana ama provincial parliament so thina si provincial parliament sibizwa sithi sishaya umthetho si based eMbombela eNelspruit. So the reason why ngizokhuluma nani namhlanje bahlobo bami is because ngihlele nami la ngoba nami ngi-invitiwe and I appreciate the invitation very much asithathi light. So I've been making notes, bengibhala ama notes ngoba I've noticed ukuthi every time comrade program director lana I raise ama questions acela ukuthi abantu ba raise ama questions, abantu ba raise ama questions which are not related to le topic esila ngayo namhlanje, which is gender based violence and femicide. So bengibhala phansi ama notes ngibona ukuthi abantu bakithi ba desperate, balimele, they are desperate, they are hungry, angazi ukuthi ukulamba balambele for ama service we government. So ngifuna ukuthi I don't know ukuthi ngithi solution or yini. I hope ningimamele ningilalele ne. Ngicela ukuthi singasakhulumi inkinga zabo manzi naboma basic needs, basic services ukuthi indlela ikolo ama clinic because mina ngiwabhalile wonke lama needs lawo. Ngiyani advise ngicela nithathe ama pen if nina ama pen nibhale, if anina ama pen mhlambe nina ama phone ngabhala kuma phones enu lithathe le address nibhalele uHonorable Speaker Makhosazana Masilela uye ophethe lapha eMpumalanga provincial legislature. Legislature sinama programs for lapho si engage sihlangana nani khona sizothatha le ikhalo enikhuluma ngazo. So i-platform yanamhlanje akusiyiyo leyo bahlobo bami. Today sizokhuluma nge-GBVF siyavala. Mara for nina abaney'khalo ze-unemployment, abaney'khalo zabo SASSA grant kuthi isasa yakagogo idliwa ubani, i-RDP kagogo bani bani ithengiselwe bani bani. Bhalani phansi na i-address. And into engimnandi engithandayo futhi ngathi thina esishayamthetho, ubhala ngeSitswana sakini, ubhala ngeShivenda, ubhala ngeSiswati nesiZulu. Asikhethi language ukuthi fanele ubhale ngesilungu. So nomkhulu uyakhona ukusibhalela, abhalele uSpeaker, amchazele whatever isikhalo akhala ngaso. Usiyazwa nguwe, ngamanzi, indlela, imigwaqo, ukuthi niyahlukumezeka kuma-farm, zonke ley'khalo bengizwa nikhuluma ngazo. Ngicela ukuthi ningazazikhulumi ngoba senginizele nge-solution, niyangibona mos ne? So, bhalani phansi nayi address, private bag, X11289. Mpumalanga Provincial Legislature. Nibhalela bani? U-Honorable Speaker uMakhosazana Masilela, ne? Ileta yakho izofika, uyibhala in a form of a petition. Sine service or I program ebayibiza bathi petition. I petition yini bahlobo? Isikhalo. Uyakhala ngithi, ukhala ngama service ka government kuthi awafiki endaweni yakho or awafiki kuwe. Sine petition section lapha e-legislature efola under public participation. As i-mandate yethu as i-legislature, i-mandate yethu ike-3. Ukuthi senze sishaye umthetho which is law making, senze public participation, lapho sibiza khona wonke umuntu osemhlabeni waseMpumalanga eze nezikhalo zakhe. Bese senza i-oversight. I-oversight yini bahlobo? I-oversight eyenzwa yithi si-legislature or sishamthetho. Siya ebantwini, ngizonenzela umzekelo, i-example. Next week siyahamba, i-legislature yaseMpumalanga iyahamba next week asikho, angeke nisibone la. Sonke si-government yaseMpumalanga sise-Pixley kaseme. From Monday until Friday, sizabe sithathe i-legislature siyise kuphi ebantwini. We are taking the legislature to the people. So abantu base bo-Volkrust, bo-Dagakral, basimele, basilindile, ngoba bayazi ukuthi siyeza. And masiza si-legislature, asizi si-one. Siza ne-government yonke, siza nama-department wonke, abo-human settlement, bonke abakhala ngezindlu, bazabe bakhona abo-MEC bethu. Abo education, abakhala ngezikolo kuthi ikolo ziwile azinama window, basiza besinabo MEC the whole week. Sizabe siseholweni eso. Oh, sengithatha isikhathi ngiyaxolisa ma. So nayi i-address yethu private bag X11289, ne? Mpumalanga Provincial Legislature Mbombela. I-code yethu is 1200. And the other platform, mama, ngicela ungiphe 30 seconds. Lapho si abantu abahlobo bami bangakhona ukusithola khona, nikhona ukuraise leyikhalo lezi. Ningasaphinde nikhulume futhi ngama service khona la ngiyanicela. Nisicela nisifollowe ku social media. Go to social media, ni type Mpumalanga Provincial Legislature. Sikhona ku social media, sikhona kuma Facebook, sikhona kuma Instagram. Niyakhona ukutype i-problems zenu and then zizo attendeka. Lastly, nayi inamba, ngicela nibhale nayi inamba yase ofisini ka speaker wethu. It is 013 766 1051. Izofika ofisini ka speaker, uyazi-introduce ukuthi wena ubani, ubuya kuphi, uyasisho isikhalo sakho ngelanguage yakho. Awudingi ukuthi ukhulume isilungu, bazokunceda. Siyabonga kakhulu. Thank you very much, Program Director.
Siyabonga siskinelwe abangezwanga kahle nanguhlala phansi ukuthi nithole imininingwane yonke leyo nikwazi ukuthi ikhalo zenu nizibhale zifinyelele e-legislature. Manje ngizobiza u-MMC obuya e-district eGarisibande, umama uMkhwanazi kukhona naye afuna ukuresponda kuko masinyane nje.
Ngiyabonga Program Director, ngiyakubingelela Minister, ngithi all protocol observe, sekashilo kwengimina, kama lami ngingibusisiwe ngwakamkhwanazi, u-MMC o-under i-office lika-Executive Mayor, odila ngama-special programs. Andi office lika-Executive Mayor, ngicabanga ukuthi ngizophendula wena Mam Sylvia, okhulume kakhulu nge-disability. Sine structure esilonjiwe e-district sabantu abakhubazekile. Chairperson wakhona ulapha ku-agriculture sisebenzisana kakhulu nama-department. Ngicabanga ukuthi zonke ikhalazo zakho uma ngabe siphuma la zizosizakala. Angihambi ngedwa-ke ku-department, ngihamba nomfana oyisigijimi kakhulu onguye u-coordinator osebenzisana nabantu abakhubazekile kanye nabantu abahlukumezekile uJune wakanhlabathi. Ngicela ukuthi masiphuma la sibonane la ngaphandle sizokwazi ukukhuluma, sizokwazi ukuthi zonke le khalazo khalaza ngazo i-department under i-office lika-Executive Mayor Baba uMngomezulu ziphenduleke. Omunye umbuzo wesithu ubaba okhale ngokuthi abantu besilisa bayahlekwa uma ngabe bahamba bayophendula ama-cases la bayobika ama-cases lapha. Sine forum e-district esebenzisana nabantu besilisa sayilontsha uma ngesikhathi abantu besifazane bahlukumezeka kakhulu kwaba khona amadoda asukumayo kubo masparati bonke bo7 akhona sizonisiza ke le structure ngabo baba abahlukumezeke emakhaya bangakwazi ukuyoraise ama cases abo lapha bayakwazi ukubasiza ukuthi nifinyelele police station. Ngizocela ukuthi si district sikhona, ngikhona mina njengo MMC o-under office lika-Executive Mayor, ngidila nayo yonke into ethi program ukuhlukunyezwa kwabantwana, ukuhlukunyezwa kwabomama, ngayo yonke into ehlukumezekile. Ngicela ukuthi sibonane, u-coordinator engize naye uJune Nhlabathi uzoni-assista kakhulu. Ngiyabonga.
Siyabonga MMC, ngizocela u-acting executive mayor waseGersibande ubaba uZunguza uzoshaya i-helicopter view.
Ngiyabonga kakhulu. Bingelele uminister ngithi protocol observe. Mina engizokhuluma kuyaphuthuma, ngicela ukuresponda kumama ngimuzwa khathazeka kakhulu ngendaba yendlela. Gersibande district municipality sinohlelo lapho khona esithatha yonke i-yellow plant ile machine mhlambe yokugrader ama TLB na yonke sithumele kubomasipala ukuthi sibalekelela bomasipala bakhona ukuyogradela abantu izindlela. Lesikhalo sizosithatha sisindlulise kakhulu ku-executive mayor ukuthi bakhona ukuthumela le yellow fleet ize la kulo masipala. Ngibuye ngikhulume umfowethu khona ophakamile lapho ukhuluma ngendaba yamanzi. Si-district kule hlelo esinalo leli sithi i-DDM njoba nibona esikhonile ukusondeza uminister la ngaphakathi kwenu ukuthi sisebenzisane nama-department angaphezulu. Sisebenza kakhulu ne-department ye-water and sanitation, sinayo futhi ne-lab lapha e-district lapho khona silekelela umasipala ukuthi sibathestele amanzi ukuze la manzi abawanikeza abantu kube manzi afanele ukuthi adliwe ngabantu. So kunehlelo olukhona elwenziwayo khona la kulo masipala lapha eChief Albert Lithuli la khona water and sanitation akha khona ama reservoir 2, one is complete, one I think is around 80-something%. Sebazoceda ngicabanga ukuthi maduzane wonke amanzi wenu azobe la wena waphuzayo azobahlengiwe futhi kumanzi afanele ukuthi abantu bawaphuze. Ngiyabonga kakhulu.
Siyabonga acting executive mayor kulethuba kulesikhathi manje ngizocela u-Director General we-Department of Justice and Constitutional Development u-Advocate D Mashabane kube uyeke ozo introducer uminister wethu ake nimsukumise DJ kancane athi u-advocate akathi ukunyakaza kancane.
Halala, Chief Albert Lutuli, Municipality Halala. Sanbonani. Ninjani. Before we continue with the item, can I just one item bengicela kuyilogos uyicacisa. Kune this thing hlala ngizwa all the time particularly lana ekhaya eMpumalanga. Kuthiwa hey amaphoyisa asebenza man. Ababamba ama criminals bagqwalisa ilona truck. But mabafike lona uMinister Lamola uyaba release ecourt. Ngizwile namanje somebody athi ya vele vele amaphoyisa uMinister Qele uyabopha but baphuma ngale ku justice. It's not true akuyiqiniso le. Nina as phakathi nine responsibility kuthi after amaphoyisa ba but Minister sino court interpreter lana samlanda le emelo sathaze lana Belfast samlanda eBelfast sathazo sebenza so I'm worried ukuthi uzo end up abuyele emuva angasebenzanga uzosisa. And at the same time Minister kumele si lona showcase ama skills la sinawo particularly ku language. I-court interpretation is very important. Many of you niyakhala ukuthi enkantolo khuluma isingisi but usese ukhona lana so she will demonstrate her skills as I continue ne mangisaqhubeka. Okay, so police arrest people, you witness these crimes, but you don't come forward to be witnesses and assist with statements.
Amaphoyisa ayababopha abantu kodwa nina niyabona lezi zinto ziyenzeka anizi phambili nizofakazela.
Yes, so as a result, abakuz i-microphone ngathi ayisebenzi lapha. Is it? Ilungiseni then uzophinda ubuye. So that's where the problem is, and that's why then people end up being released, because without any evidence, without witnesses, the case cannot proceed.
Kula inkinga iba khona ngoba ngaphandle kokuthi kube nobufakazi noma kube nabofakazi abazofakazela lokho kwenzekile icala liyachithwa.
So after amaphoyisa have done their job arresting people, the investigating officer comes back. As a community, we must come forward and provide information that we have seen the incident, we have seen the crime, this is the information we have. But without you doing that, the criminals will come back to the community.
Emva kokuthi amaphoyisa abophile abenzi bokubi funa nina njengomphakathi nize ngaphambili nizosho noma nizofakazela lokho enikubonile ukuze ubulungiswa buzoyenzeka ngaphandle kwaloko angeke sikwazi ukuchubekela phambili.
Yes. So ladies and gentlemen, ngizogogo wathi why deserve a protocol, so nami ngovela ngideserve a protocol without wasting time. Program director, I'm here to introduce uNgqongqoshe we Department of Justice and Correctional Services. Ngizo introduce. Oh, okay. Sorry.
At the same time.
Okay, now I'm coming to introduce the Minister for Justice and Correctional Services. The minister was born and bred in this province. He went to school. I'm told the first duty of a revolutionary is to learn and go to school. The minister went to school and is an attorney of the High Court of South Africa. It's an attorney at law, which is very important for all of us.
Tuzela ngaphambili kuzoyazisa uminister. Minister wethu ufundekile kakhulu yile esikoleni and then ungummeli njengoba nje.
So during his days at school, at university, he led the students.
Ngenkathi zakhe zokuya esikolweni bekahamba phambili kuba students.
Then when he left school, he led the African National Congress Youth League as a deputy president.
Uye waphatha noma wahamba ngaphambili ku African National Congress Youth League.
2017, he got elected to the National Executive Committee of the governing party, the African National Congress.
2017 uye wakhethwa njenge governor we National Party of the Congress.
Where wakhethwa as a lunga le National Executive
Uye
committee
wakhethwa njengelunga.
Congolese, yes.
Uye wakhethwa njengelunga le-National Congress.
Then he also is a member of the National Working Committee of the governing party.
Ulilungu futhi la limbuthazo phethe manje.
Okay, then he got appointed a minister for the Department of Justice and Minister for Justice and Correctional Services in 2019.
Uye wabekwa njengominister we-Department of Justice ne-Correctional Services ngo-2019.
So, ladies and gentlemen, with your help, I have the honor to introduce to you the Minister for Justice, for Justice and Correctional Services, Honorable Ronald Lamola, to address us this afternoon in this Imbizo.
Samkeleni uMinister of Department of Justice ne-Correctional Services azos-addressa namhlanje.
Ngicela ukuthi nime ngenyawo, simu welcome.
Singasukuma.
Thank you.
Hayi no siyabonga. Ngiyabonga kakhulu ku Director General we Department for introduction. Sibonge nako masipala wo Hartsbande, acting executive mayor na acting mayor wala Chief Albert Lituli nabo bonke abo council abakhona kule ndawo. Traditional leadership yethu esihamba nayo abakhona phambili nabanye abahleli ngaphansi siyajabula ukuthi nibe khona nibe nathi la. Ama religious leaders nabo bonke abangama leadership yala kule ndawo esikuyo siyanibingelela nonke. Ngizwile ukuthi into eziningi seziphenduliwe lebe zireziwe. And that's why sifune ukuthi kucale bona kucala ukuthi bakhulume babe specific kulezi zinto saziyo ukuthi umphakathi ukhala ngazo ngoba ubulungiswa abantu angeke ubulungisa buzenzekele budinga iparticipation yabantu necommunity. So lokuningi enani niparticipate kukwena ukushilo nizwile nokuthi inkantolo namaphoyisa ngeke bakhona ukuthi benze umsebenzi ngaphandle kokuthi basizwe yithi njengamalungu emphakathi. Ngizwile ke ukuthi niya complaina niyakhala ngokuthi kune corruption lapha emaphoyiseni, kune corruption lapha kubashushisa ezinye izinto ezena nazi ukuthi ziphela kanjani. Lokho kufanele ukuthi nako nikureport ukuthi la maphoyisa corrupt aboshwe nawo. If kunomshushisi nayo corrupt enimaziyo naye akaboshwe. So ukuthi akhona ukuthi aboshwe nako lokho kudinga nini ukuthi nidlala indima yenu. Ngiyazi ukuthi nine kukhala ukuthi bazoboshwa kanjani ngoba la kufanele bababoshwe futhi iba amaphoyisa futhi iba abashushisi. Kodwa abo station commander nalaba ngaphezulu iyo le ndaba namhlanje silethe nalaba ngaphezulu kulabo nihlala nabo la ukuthi nikhona ukuthi nibabone ni report kubo igameko ezinjalo ezenza ukuthi nisabe ukusebenzisana nemaphoyisa nisabe ukusebenzisana nebashushisi. So if kukhona kunjalo ku reporteni kule la tafula lethu akekho azokuhlukumeza njengemhlali. If njengoba nishilo ukuthi nihlukumezwa kakhulu idakamizwa niphinde nihlukumezwe kakhulu ilaba aphuza utshwala obuningi babe sebenze into ezingafuneki la emphakathini ishoni lapha kulamatafula akhona senzele lokho ukuthi nikureport okunjalo ngoba siwafuna amaphoyisa corrupt and asibafuni futhi abashushisa aba corrupt ngoba ba undermine umsebenzi wengalo mthetho. Kodwa nani ningababhatali ibribe ngoba akuzenzekeli ukuthi iphoyisa libe corrupt nomshushisi ukuthi abe corrupt. Nalama traffic officer yini nibhatala le 50 rand nibhatala 100 rand nibhatala 1000 rand angisho. Nalabo soba business abancane abathengisa lama drug yibo futhi aba corrupt lamaphoyisa ngoba yibo ababhatala le bribe. Akuzenzekeli nje ukuthi if kunomuntu corrupt there is a bribe and the law I receiver. Ayivele ezulwini nje le mali. Iveliwe nje iwele phansi. Kunaloko ayibhatalako. Nathi asikuyeke lokho njengomphakathi sidlala indima yethu ukuthi siyicede lento esikhala ngayo so that sizolwa nalama drugs silwe nayo yonke into ehambelana ne-gender based violence. Nizwile sebashilo ukuthi lo mthetho we-Domestic Violence Amendment Act uyakubophelela ukuthi uma wathi ukuthi kamakhelwane kunalabo amhlukumetayo kufanele ukuthi uyoreport. Selicala manje ukuthi ungayireport kodwa if amaphoyisa angafika abophe lapha kamakhelwane okutholakala ukuthi kuna 10 years lo muntu ahlukumetwa nine njengabomakhelwane anizange nisho lutho ngeke kwendeke niyokufuna niprove ukuthi indzaba ningasho ngolutho ukuthi umakhelwane uyahlukumetwa ukuthi isihlobo sakho losatiko sasihlukumetwa why bowungareport nani seniyoboshwa naloku lokufanele ukuthi nisite ngakho sesiyobe sikuceza kungasikucala but kodwa sifuna ukuthi nine ni cooperate nje cooperatively voluntarily ngoba uma niyokwenda njalo voluntarily nosita nathi so naloko nje siyakudinga ukuthi uma siyokhona ukuthi sihlule i-domestic violence sihlule i-gender based violence incobe so ikhona kuphela uma sisebenzisana sonke umphakathi namaphoyisa la kunetinkinga sitilungise. Lenye ke indzaba lengiyivile prominent la ngilendzaba yemhlaba sivile kukhulunywa kakhulu ngendzaba yokuthi bantu badzinga umhlaba ene badzinga nema title deeds labaniketwe khona ma RDP houses nalaba netitandi khona so siyokhambisa sikuyise phambili nathi ku department le relevant kakhulu i department yaka rural development ledilana kakhulu ngama land claims kodwa lokhambelana nema RDP ngiyathemba bo councilor la kwamasipala bakuvile bayokhona ukuthi bayifollowishe lendzaba but le hambelana ne ma land claims lesiwavile nekuthi kuhlukumetwa abantu la emaplazini siyoyisa lapho ku relevant khona ukuthi at least kube ne feedback ku community ukuthi ahamba njani la land claims even if angakapheli but nibe ne feedback ukuthi bafike kuphi i-process ihamba njani nakhona indzaba ithathe isikhathi lesithe ene uma sikhuluma ngalendzaba emhlaba sikhuluma ukuthi bantu kufanele ukuthi bawuthole lemhlaba baniketwe wona ukuthi bakhona ukuthi bawusebenzise lendzaba le yokuhlukumetwa kwebantu nema evictions la emaplazini kungasikudzala nje ngiyathi ukuthi legal aid iyawenda lo msebenzi loyo ukuthi isite bahlale basemaplazini ngama evictions nekuthi bahlukumetwe kodwa they do it at a small scale ngoba basinayo le budget lelinganele ukuthi bangewenda lo msebenzi kodwa kule uma sekucala lo mgcobo simali lesingena kuwo illegal aid seyocala ukuthi inisite at a bigger scale la emaplazini ngetindzaba tema evictions ngoba si extendile imandate yabo ukuthi include ukuthi dilane nema evictions emaplazini so kungasikudzala legal aid yoba ne dedicated unit ledilana nema evictions yasemaplazini le specifically siyendele ukuthi sinike ne budget ukuthi yendele umsebenzi lo ngoba sibonile ukuthi lelu sito lelo liyadzingeka kakhulu on the most vulnerable la kubahlali basemaplazini kodwa manje uma nibabona benda nje kancane benda ngoba banenhlitiyo lenhle but asikabaniki le budget le beyidzinga ukuthi bakhona kwenda lo msebenzi mara manje njengoba ngikhuluma nani siyobanika le budget baqale iunit vele le dedicated leyo sebenda ene vele siyofuna ukuthi leyo unit leyo mayiseyicalile isebende kakhulu la kulendzawo yaseGaretsbande ngoba siyathi ukuthi la kulendzawo yaseGaretsbande it has got a high prevalence of evictions amongst farm dwellers and farm workers in the whole country. I think following KwaZulu-Natal, one of the two. But Garetsbande is the highest. And Nazi, uma sesenda lo msebenzi siniketa lamandla ku Legal Aid South Africa, bayokhona ukuthi banisite ngalendzaba lenjalo. Ene bayophinze bakhona ukuthi banisite kulama land claims ngoba nawo adzinga sometimes kwati ukuthi wati umthetho. Kodwa nalabantu laba sebenda la kuma community who are community activists ngizwile ngama community service workers nabo siyoba empowerisha ukuthi bakhona ukuthi banikete lwamakhono lenda ukuthi bakhona ukusebenza lemisebenzi le hambelana nobo maintenance la ema-court ama-domestic violence reporting and procedures nalama procedure nje ladzinga nje ukuthi kungabi a highly skilled lawyer but basic legal services ukuthi bakhona ukuthi bawende lo msebenzi lonjalo and ngiyathemba sesivile noma ku presenter I department ukuthi awusadzingi ukuthi uyofika e-court ukuthi uapplyele for i-domestic violence i-court order unga-applya noma ngawukuphi ungakwenda online awudzingeki ukuthi uyofika lapha e-court and kunane-process ye-WhatsApp lo ungakhona ukuthi u-applye le-domestic violence court order ukuthi ukhona ukuthi usitakale la kule court le ungakulo so angifuni kuba mutse ngoba already lokuningi kukhaviwe kwekugcina nje lengifuna ukukhuluma ngako niyababona musi bobo sebahambile la bebacula la kule choir la ubhuti lekakhala ngako diboshwa labantu la siyazama ukuthi siba rehabilitate sibende ukuthi nabo babe bantu ngoba vele bawonela umphakathi angisho siyathi sonke kusibonile siyabasebenzisa futhi manje lephakathi le bayalima bayabhaka benda konke lokhu ungakucabanga ukuthi umuntu angakwenda nabo plumbing siyabafundzisa ubhuti nje njengoba khuluma ukuthi kufanele ukuthi banikedwe isupport siyabanika le support and so continue ukuthi sibanike le support kodwa bayayidzinga ne support na ku community kusi na i-community uma sebaphuma noma sibaveta nje kancane if angonanga angendanga liqala there is no need ukuthi siba stigmatize sibaqoshe ngoba sekunecala ngoba lebandile before ngoba lele cala lebandile semsebenzi walo nesigwebo sakhona so usendile asiba accepteni nathi sibanike that second chance ngoba uma ubheka nje emajele wethu bonke labantu lesinabo ngekugcwala ngebuningi babo in their majority almost 90% yabo one day they will be released almost 90% so kufuna ukuthi sisebenzisane nathi ukuthi siba rehabilitate sonke ukuthi uma babuyile nabo ba behave nathi uma balejele siyabatshela ukuthi uma uphuma la uyoba iambassador yaka correctional service ungayo misbehavior lengaphandle uphinze wende lelinye liqala ukuthi utobuya la phakathi fanele ukuthi kube kwekugcina ukuthi uvele la nabo sebayibona indlela kancane kancane njengoba sobabona baqula labanye babo bebangakwathi nokucula bebangayathi nechoir bebangayathi nekubamba iball pen bekuvele abantu laba vele indlela yabo itshekile mara kancane kancane niyababona sebayalunga so sifuna nje ukucela emphakathini ukuthi asibambisaneni njengoba silwa na yonke lento lekhona i-gender based violence so ikhona kuphela uma sibambisene nalabo labaphumako sibanike i-chance uma ke aphinza yenda lemikhuba yakho then siyomthatha simbuyisele phakathi sikhiphe lesigwebo sakhe separole lebe simnike yona nale chance sikhansele simbuyisele phakathi baningi la sesibakhanselile waqala nje kancane siyambuyisela ngoba kusho ukuthi lenhloko yakhe ayikalungi kufuna simphinze futhi simlungise so ngiyafuna nje kubonga umphakathi wendzawo ukuthi nisinikete lethuba ukuthi sikhulumisane nani siyathi ukuthi njengoba sikhulumile akusho ukuthi inkinga setiphelile but kulama stalls la lapha ya laba nenzaba le specific le direct silethela ama service ukuthi nikhone kuyobambisana nabo niyibeke straight ilunge njengoba umshishisi sekashilo nge-20 ke upresident utota la abe nale engagement le sibe nani nayo tindzaba letiningi lethambelana ne-service delivery ngiyathemba ukuthi la atoba afika nabo bayoba bakhona ukuthi batiphendvule kodwa letincane ngiyajabula ukuthi makhansela la khona la azamile ukuthi aphendule indzaba ehambelana nemandi nalokunye lebakhonile ukuthi bakhona ukuthi bakuphendvule kodwa lokuningi siyochubeka ukuthi sizame ukuthi sikuyise la kuma relevant departments kuphendule kuphindwe ukuthi ku respond nalaba basamukele kahle siyanibonga nonke na yonke into lenishilo nisho kahle siyayibonga nalaba nalani sithukile siyakubonga nako lokho ngoba kuyipart yale engagement sikuvile nalokuthuka ngoba kuyavakala ukuthi bantu vele bakwatile badzinga tinsita siyaku-understand nalamagama lamnanzi nawo siyawathatha ngoba sometimes nathi sisebenta a thankless job siyawadzinga lamagama lamnanzi ngiyabonga kakhulu thank you
Anginibonanga niphakama onarisha. Hayi siyabonga kakhulu minister sesifike emaphethelweni sizocela omele ioffice la ka speaker Chief Albert Luthuli ubaba ukhansela ujele azosibonga asibonge sonke bese senzi announcement bese siyaceda.
Siyabonga kakhulu program director Mamhlapo. Ngicela ukuthatha leli thuba leli ngibonge kakhulu kumphakathi wonke wase Chief Albert Luthuli ngokuhlukahlukana ngezigodi kusuka ekulindeni Mpuluzi elukwatini neCarolina. Ngicela ukuthatha leli thuba leli ngibonge ku department leholwa umhlonishwa ubaba uRonald Lamola ekutheni ukuthi manje athathe isikhathi sokuthi afike eCarolina azokhulumisana nomphakathi ngazo zonke izinto lezi thinta wona. Ngempela umhlonishwa sizwile vele umphakathi ukhulume lokufanele. Ngicela ukuthatha leli thuba leli ngibonge kulosiwelcomile lomele idistrict lo ngangamama ubusi Mkhwanazi ekutheni ukuthi usamukele kahle wasimukelela izivakashi zethu. Sibonge futhi nepresentation leqhamuke ku Brigadier Mtungwa lomele idistrict kumaphoyisa. Siphinde futhi sibonge nalomele iNPA uacting DPP Mr. Esntuli naye usikhulumele kahle. Siphinde futhi sibonge nalomele icorrectional service uDeputy Commissioner Miss TD Makuza nalo wenze ipresentation from Legal Aid yes South Africa Mr. M Nzondo. Siphinde futhi sibonge nalo bekakhulumela National Register for Sex Offenders Miss N Majila. Siphinde futhi sibonge nasemphakathini kiwo wonke malunga lathe aletha imibuzo ngalendlela la ulethe ngayo ngokuhlukahlukana ngeqhamuka ngezigodi. Siphinde futhi sibonge naku acting executive mayor Mr. B Nzunguza acting district mayor wethu. Siphinde futhi sibonge naku Director General from good department Mr. Mashabane ngokuthi asintroducele uminister. Siphinde futhi sibonge nakuwe minister kuyo wonke amazwi lo akhulumile wasikhuthaza ngawo ekutheni ukuthi manje kufanele ukuthi siziphathe njani singumphakathi. Lengakusho nje ukuthi siyabonga kakhulu ku department, sibonge nasemphakathini ukuthi unikeze i-department indlebe. Kanti futhi noma sebahambile bafowethu basiculele kahle siyababonga kakhulu. Singathi kibo konke lokwenzekile la sisazohamba sibuyele emakhaya sibuyele kahle futhi siphephile. Ngiyabonga kakhulu.
Siyabonga ba Councillor Jele ukusibonga. Nami ngiyazibongela nokuthi nani nibe audience enhle elalelayo ebuzayo kahle siyabonga. So ama announcement ukuthi i leadership yonke le bekade ile ku holding room iyabuyela ku holding room basayo assessa ukuthi kuhamba kanjani. Umphakathi wonke uzothola ama refreshment la ngaphandle. Siyabonga nibe nosuku oluhle ukuya phambili. DJ azishe.